from the outside, who would know what lies beneath? Unleash it with a machine as savage as you are. Lenovo Legion. Stylish outside, savage inside.
This is how legends are made.
From the outside, who would know what lies beneath? Unleash it with a machine as savage as you are. Lenovo Legion. Stylish outside, savage inside.
This is how legends are made.
And welcome back to the Eliza Invitational. We're ready to get into our second matchup of the day. It's going to be the big one, the final of the 2-0 group games between ENCE and Endpoint. By the end of the next 3 hours, one of these two teams will be making their way into the next stage of the tournament. I am the Eternal J. I'm joined by Dweg, as per usual. And I have to say, I'm really looking forward to this one. In part because, yes, I am an Endpoint fanboy. I'll give you that. But also because these two teams have been very heavy hitters, both trying to make their runs, trying to make that crack through the glass ceiling. Some teams have obviously been trying to go for that at the longest time, and Endpoint definitely are one of those teams, but ENCE have been one of the key rivals for them to try and get through.
I think you need a bit of a correction on that. I think it might be 2 hours, not 3 hours. But we'll see. We'll see how this all goes down. But
I can see where this is going already. Yes.
You look at this matchup, and both teams are on some really decent run of form. We know that the way for ENCE, it seemed like the roster move of Hades was inevitable. We knew that he sort of came in, Alu was taking on leave, and they were just winning game after game. They've already won Loot Bet Season 9. They've just won the grand final of FunSpark. And you just look at all their results recently and think, my goodness, this change was needed. And my goodness, what a level these guys can play to.
Absolutely. I think the main focus for ENCE right now in terms of who to watch for is Hades. Easily he is the guy who has just been absolutely on fire. And the main element, I think, is going to be the difference maker for this side. You know, he's been a stand-in for a while. We just recently added to the roster in place of Alu as an official capacity, like about 3 days ago or so. So in terms of like his particular contributions, it's already obvious what he's been able to do with the ENCE side. And now him being a safer part of the roster might be a bit more permanence behind it. And that makes me really excited for where ENCE go now.
Oh, it's just the powerhouse of the Polish duo. The Hades and Dia show those two guys are the highest rated players on this team. Those are the guys that really get this this lineup over the kilter. But then you've got Endpoint on the other side, who have had a lot of success over the course of a longer period of time. When you have a look at this team, we sort of saw them on the rise towards the middle of last year. The summer was really where we saw them being pushed in the right direction. Where for ENCE, it maybe feels like their results have only really been pushed since the start of this year.
Absolutely, and for Endpoint as well, like they also had their best year so far already. Like they almost made it into Katowice. They made it into the ESL Pro League, which is like their biggest achievement thus far. And even then, they punched well above their weight in that particular tournament. They haven't quite hit those highs as of late, recently, because of the roster moves with Flamesy getting removed. They brought back in Thomas and Mezzi as well. With the new additions that they seem to be having, Endpoint are trying to look towards a newer future. And yeah, initially the results didn't quite go well for them, but coming into this match, they're on a 5 best-of-3 series win streak, a 10-map affair so far, going all their way. So Endpoint, you talk about ENCE being on the hot streak. Endpoint arguably could be on an even better hot streak by comparison.
Whose streak is better? Because we know for ENCE, since bringing Hades into the lineup, they've won 11 out of their 12 best of threes. They're on a big winning streak as well. So when you compare the pair, it's almost like we're looking at the same team, but in a mirror.
Indeed. Well, these teams have history, so let's get into the vetoes and discuss a little bit more of that history in this one, Dweg. 4 maps have been played between these two sides. All of them have gone the way of ENCE. Admittedly, one of those series was back to a very, very different Endpoint roster, so I wonder whether or not that's going to make a massive difference. But in terms of the vetoes, Dweg, what are you expecting to see?
Probably won't see any vertigo. Like, both teams aren't really liking a massive amount of vertigo as of late. We know too that for the ENCE side, they are kind of liking the nuke at the moment, but that's it. Endpoint's insta-ban, so they're gonna have to lean to something else in the pool. Maybe a Mirage. We saw them pick that against AGF and had a really one-sided result in the early round of the main Swiss.
Well, Nuke and Inferno being taken out as those first couple of maps, which instantly makes sense to me. Both permanent default bans for both of those respective sides. You mentioned Mirage potentially being a pick of the Endpoint camp, and they'll get first dibs on that particular map up. We know that they have played very little of Ancient as well, so I don't think we'll be seeing that one floated in either. One map on record for the Endpoint side, and they go towards Overpass. Makes a lot of sense for me. I mean, getting rid of Inferno obviously is going to take away one of their best maps in the pool, so just go to that second pick, go to that fallback, go to Overpass.
Yeah, it's a very good map coming in, and knowing that you don't have your Inferno, you go to your second best. So coming out to Endpoint, it's definitely a strength pick. Vertigo actually being picked in by ENCE, little bit surprising considering it seems like only recent runner form of Vertigo is starting to go their way rather than how it used to be maybe a couple of months ago. So seeing Vertigo into the mix, you're picking into an Endpoint strength too.
Absolutely. I'm surprised that one was even being floated, as you mentioned before. Like, they're probably not a good idea for either side to pick into Vertigo, but ENCE are going to take that risk. Endpoint will ban out Ancient, so yes, we will not see that map being played in this series either, which leaves us with Dust 2 and Mirage, and ultimately ENCE want to go towards Dust 2. Who do we think's won out on this veto here?
In the finale, Dust 2 is a very good map to come through from ENCE. We did see that 16-0 the other day, but I think that was a little bit of a red herring. It was something that happened once. Probably won't happen again against Havu. But overall, I think ENCE have come out pretty well in this one.
100%, I agree on this one. I mean, in terms of like previous history and the four maps that we've seen between these two sides, a lot of the maps have been trained, so unfortunately we won't get to see that at this moment. Inferno, Overpass are the main two maps that we've also seen between these two sides, and Overpass did go the way of the ENCE side. Again, that was the old Endpoint roster that I'm talking about there. So I look towards this and think with that sort of like being the main sticking point in terms of what this map could do, I think the Endpoint have taken a bit of a risky one, but again, it is one of their fallback maps. So I look to this and I wonder if they can finally get a map win on the board, and I look towards whether they can get the series win itself. I am going to go 2-1 to the favor of ENCE on this particular series. I feel like Endpoint can still hold their own, but I don't feel like it's going to be as quick an affair as you initially think it might be, Dweg. So let's just jump into it. Let's see how well it goes. It's Overpass, the first map as picked by Endpoint, as they take on ENCE for the final spot in the playoffs. Diffuse kit over on Dotto, double flash for him as well. Mighty Max has the utility alongside Mezzi for the Endpoint setup, and they go straight in to that mid default. Dia is looking for the opening frag, but so far will not be able to see anything off that first contact.
Very aggressive to come out from Endpoint, just getting this early long control. They've left Mighty Max a bit of a spotter out from the monster position, waiting for any over-aggression, and just start working to see if they can gather some early info.
Slow walk-ins here. Endpoint going to be a bit more faster about their positions. Taking up towards the bathrooms. Angles. Snap B leans up against Mighty Max. Tags him. Falls away. Looks for the second shot. Hades comes up with the opening kill of the matchup. Surreal can't turn it back against Snappy. Hades reveals his position and tries to fall away. Thomas comes in with a flank as well out of short pipe, and no one saw that coming. Not me, not Hades. Still, the trades are good for Spinks. 3 versus 3, and they are leaning back in towards this B play. I think the bomb's been seen here. How are they going to force the kill against Spinks?
Oh, great flash out towards that monster position. That's Thomas just being completely blind. Spinks looking in for a little bit more. He's already got 2 in the round.
Yeah, and Crucial gets caught off by Dotto, leaving it all to Mighty Max, the big in-game lead of the Endpoint. No Kevlar on him, and means that his kill's going to come in easy for Dotto as ENCE take the pistol round.
And I've got a bit of a feeling that ENCE are going to be able to take this in 2, Jay. I think that they've got the goods enough on Overpass to bring it over the line. The one player that could actually stand in their tracks has got to be Mighty Max, and maybe the odds standing in their tracks as well. They are favouring ENCE, but not by a massive portion. 1.67 up for the ENCE side, where Endpoint just over 2-1.
And definitely seen some closer affairs. Definitely some more Farcon odds in by comparison over the course of the day, so ENCE in a slight favoritism at Endpoint. Factor in that force bind, trying to factor in some of the downtime that they've had as of recently. Obviously, when they first picked up Mezzi, the results weren't coming in for them, and I actually had the chance to discuss with Mezzi some of the factors of Endpoint's scenario right now, and it seems like with that downtime, they've been putting in a lot more practice as of late. So I wonder if that's going to be something of a factor for them to utilize over the course of this series. For this particular round, it's going to be an opening frag on DA to kick things off.
Oh, well, without a doubt, Mezzi has brought a lot of firepower to this team. He's been an unbelievable talent for them. And even Thomas now getting involved out to the short water. They've managed themselves a 5-on-3.
Smokes in, Dotto backed up at the SMG. Burst through on Spinks, gets 1 kill back to return over in the mid control. It's going to be a 2-for-1 as a result of that. But Endpoint currently have the man advantage, and Dotto, ooh, Is he going to press forward? Will Thomas' Tech 9 catch him? Who's going to see who and who's going to see each other first? It will be Dotto with the frag back to a 3 versus 3. Gets Mighty Max the 2, dropping the bomb. Seeing Surreal as well. 10 bullets in the magazine though. Better be careful how he takes his face because he could run out of ammo and lose his life for it. But he has dished out a lot of damage.
Rotation's coming quite quickly in from Spinks, and even Hades is both here. Out to the B side. Endpoint, this is going to be a tough one, even to get a bomb plan.
Oh, it's semi-open. Hades going to slowly walk around it. And I think that was the right call for Surreal because he just gives him just enough time to get that frag back in. Mezzi responds back with a deagle, but cannot hold onto the triple. So Spinks will find his defuse and find the second round for ENCE.
If Endpoint are cheeky enough, they'll force again here. 4 kills at a bomb plant, knowing that you forced up in round 2. You want to buy again.
Yeah, plenty of damage being done to ENCE. Full reset potential here for the Endpoint side. Have got also the option of the guns coming out. Maybe a half-bike could also be advisable. But you're right, I think the right call here is to go for the forced investment. It's a bit of a shame, really, because I felt that with that man advantage, the Endpoint really could have done something.
They had a 5-on-3, and they had map control. It's almost a bit of a headbanger how they weren't able to convert that round. Dotto made a really, really strong info play by just being able to push out from Monster, getting that bomb control back, and just being able to get a couple of kills, give the information over to both Spinks and Hades to rotate into B, and eventually Spinks was the one to finish off the round.
There's only one of the 2 players on the AUGs here for ENCE, him and Hades, set and ready. Incendiary smokes and flashes all going over and out. Damage being done to Crucial and to Mighty Max here. Hades under their position. No frags as of right now, though. It's just damage being done to the Endpoint cap.
A slow default out towards the bathroom's position to start off, and for ENCE, this is so passive from them. They're giving them a lot of respect of taking this early map control.
AUG watching. Hoping for contact against Endpoint, falling away, jump facing, seeing Mighty Max getting that frag in. Not catching Crucial, unfortunately. He has seen him at the very least. The smoke goes down and they suppress for the moment. That Molotov might burn Hades, so he's got to fall back.
A lot of movement happening on the A site from ENCE. After they get the opening man advantage, they actually push Sprinks quite aggressively out to the long position.
45 seconds remaining. Time is starting to run short. Smokes onto the dumpster position. Crucial going to start leaning up. Hades has boosted a teammate up into the A site. Burst through. Snappy's going to look above that smoke. What he's tried to do so. Mezzi catches Spinks to get that trade together. So 4 versus 4. Snappy does see them over the truck position. Get a dink off, but very minimal damage done to Thomas in spite of that. They do catch Crucial to a return frag. A 4 versus 3. All 4 players coming in from dumpster though. Thomas sees what's going on. He's caught off a kill. Seen information on 2 more. So Surreal and Mezzi can act as appropriate. But Mezzi's so far back, going for a very late lurk into the bathroom. Surreal gets 2 frags. 4 HP for him though. Snappy's got it all to do. He's been seen. He's found a spray. He's now in a 1v1 clutch with a smoke down and a defuse kit as well. Hades. Sorry, excuse me. Mezzi, I've got to say, takes their face spray through left-hand side. Snappy is going to hold it and hold the round together for ENCE.
Oh, not even the Glock kill comes out in the end. Surreal does so much heavy lifting, and he's just got to rely on his teammate to be able to get the final bullet in, to get the round together. They get a bomb plan, so Endpoint can buy again, but for ENCE, these rounds are coming so down to the wire, but they're still converting.
Such a great effort from Endpoint, but just not to be in this one.
They're not forcing. What?
Half buy instead around the hero AK. You're right about the force buy scenario, but at some point you just got to just hold. At some point you just got to take an eco and just be like, listen, we're not going to be able to force the issue on ENCE and reset them. So maybe if we get a half buy in, maybe we can do some damage. I mean, we've been making these rounds so close and expensive. Keep the expense up a little bit, then reset them with a full blown buy.
I don't get this. I don't know why they're not forcing completely. You've got the last 2 rounds in which you've got post plants and ENCE 1 clutches. So they're going to have to try and see if they can do some damage off the back of this half-pipe. Quick play out from Monster. Couple of dinks in already.
2 for 1, they're all for the CT forces. Mighty Max in with a kill. Crucial catches Dotto with a deagle, so 3 versus 3. Smoke down, Hades finds Mezzi next up. Crucial, AK in hand, gonna smoke back position and try find a cross, but that bomb's been dropped. Mighty Max finds Dia on short, and now it's a 2 versus 1 as he triples up with a headshot perfectly on that Tech 9. Hades, no Kevlar, completely glass cannon with his AWP. The bomb's going down.
This is the perfect chance for a reset. Mighty Max having a huge round out for that short water position, and no one's really peeking.
No need to wait for Hades to attack you, and this AWP has got to do so much here. And this is what I was talking about. For Endpoint to get the damage under the half by, then go for a reset. They did both in one foul swoop. And now Hades is going to go ahead and save. No kit, no util, nothing except a big green gun to work with on this retake, and he knows it is no chance. Hold the weapon, concede the first back to Endpoint.
And ENCE are 100% going to be forced buying next round. 1,400 loss bonus, plenty of players on double eco, buy it up around the AWP, get Hades at least some armor moving forward into the next. But for Endpoint, that was a very, very impressive round. And even out from Monster, they didn't get a massive amount of success with the trades and with the opening kills, but Mighty Max just taking that round himself.
All sorts of Deagles out for the ENCE side. AWP for Hades. Smoke set up immediately to go towards that monster position to try and ensure that Endpoint can't rush them. Very careful if they do want to go ahead and rush them and set up the main forces over to that B side play. A lot of CT presence out here. I'm going to reveal so much as well, just spamming away with the Deagles past the smokes.
Get that early util into the short water position. Wait for any of the CTs to start overextending. Hades has got a bit of a crossfire locked with Dia. This is a very, very heavy lean out to the B side from ENCE.
Molotov. As he's trying to see if he can force something out towards Connector, but again, as you mentioned, a heavy lean in to that B side play. Dia will reveal the boost that's gone on to the B side, but that's pretty much given information, I think, to the Endpoint camp.
Very default heavy for Endpoint out in round 5. Very default heavy across the board in their entire T side. Haven't really seen a lot of set pieces coming through from them. Mighty Max getting right up towards this divider position, but the bomb's actually trailing back over to outside of Monster into the stack.
Yeah, Endpoint have gained very little information as to how many players here are here from ENCE. But it's still that three-man force in the mid control. If they want to act towards an execution and overwhelm Spinks, then that could just be a quick rotation of the bomb, get the plant in. They're not going to do this, though. They're going to try and call in a fake. Will ENCE buy it? One player will rotate back. That AWP is still on site, though, with two CTs to back it up. Oh, this is not looking good for Endpoint.
The time is so low, and even Mighty Max gets dealt with. Now they can just start running into B. They go back to A.
They're going to rotate. I think they realize Spinks is all alone. Snappy's going to try and get hit with the Deagle. 13 seconds. They've got to go for the default plant immediately, and that bomb's just coming up mid now. Deagle close to Spinks, taps his way forward. Snappy gets a kill. He does get dealt with by Surreal, and I think the bomb will just go down in time here.
Get that bomb down. Aggression out towards that bag position. Hades have to look up towards his left-hand side. Mezzy quicker.
Deals with the AWP. If Dia wants to have his hand at this, he's going to have to grab that gun. He does get it in his hands, but I feel like he might just opt for the safe call instead. Mezzy could get caught in the bomb blast or just by a stray bullet. Try to fall back out towards the long control with AWP shots ringing out. Dotto's seen there towards Dumpster, should get forced away. Finally, Endpoint can bail their teammate out, and ENCE will go for another save.
That was a really risky call. There's even a bit of a hunt coming through from Surreal out to the B side to try and take these final weapons out of play. Oh, shot even gets landed by Dia, so nothing drops here for the CT side. Endpoint, though, it must have been a gut feeling or something, maybe realizing how passive that single A player was from Spinks, that they were playing only one on A because there weren't a lot of sound cues from the B side players. Endpoint not running into the stack at all.
All important save, I think, from ENCE to hold those weapons, because it does leave a bit more of a bolster here for them, and they're going to go with a bit of a force buy as well for it. Spinks and Snappy investing in full, passing those weapons off. Orps in and Dia, Dotto with the AK, the Eagles in for everybody else. Fair amount of utility. They're going to try and steal this one here.
This is kind of risky. I guess when an AWP and an AK presents itself, you sort of look at the situation and think, okay, maybe we'll catch them off guard with the force. Nade goes down towards Monster Wall. That's already Dotto getting tagged up.
One AK dropped to 64. Snappy gets tagged as well. Mighty Max heard that. He's called it in. Yeah, you tag someone through that wall bank. But only that tag. Nothing else coming through against the ENCE side. A minute to the clock, and Endpoint happy to continue playing their passive default.
And basically the same setup where they just run 4 and B, a very deep player out on the A side. That's the AWP from Hades, who isn't going to get contact for a little while, because for Endpoint, they've got no one at long, no one in the bathrooms. It's really just Crucial, very passive himself, and then everyone at B. This time around, though, Jade, they might actually be running into the stack.
Eastside players pressing, 40 seconds to the clock. Flash is going over. Mighty Max try and sell some sort of play out towards the mid control. Hades' AWP is ready for it, though. Going to jump face and see nothing in bathrooms or mid. And now the walkout again. ENCE have the stack in play. Thomas rounds the corner, sees Snappy, gets the kill. Dotto is trading. Surreal can do the same, but Dotto lands 2 picks. Mighty Max and Mezzi there to clean up the rest of the forces, and Spinks is left with the AK in tow. Backstab inbound for Mighty Max. Spinks still wins the fight on the 2 players at the B site. Tries to turn around, runs out of ammo. And that costs him dearly. Mighty Max will just hold the round together for Endpoint.
Oh my goodness. That round really comes down to the wire. Spinks trying to get away with the 1 versus 3. Isolate these picks so well. Needs to try and take the fight. The bullet's so close, but not to the headshot. Not being able to get the kill. These rounds have come so down to the wire. We've seen so many clutches, and we're only 6 rounds into the map.
Now, Deagle's out for ENCE. Endpoint, AKs and AWPs. 4-buy versus basics. And Hades with his Deagles going to try and get himself up towards Rock. Press forward at the long control. Try and find a risky play for ENCE that could still work out. He could extend at the right moment here. Damage being done to Dia in the connector control. They've caught him. Bit of information being gained by Hades, though. No one's pressing on towards long, and he's not going to extend either.
And timing has really got to be everything from Hades. When does he decide to peek? Does he get a bit of an angle where the T side aren't looking out towards long? And even if he does press forward at the right time, he could spot out the bomb.
Yeah, they've dropped it back here. If he extends towards Park... Oh, no, detected by Crucial. Never mind. I was going to say, if he extended towards Park, he'd probably win the round off the back of that, or at least stall for some serious potential. Calling his teammates to rotate via long and start to bolster up a decent crossfire, but... not to be. Deagle's still tapping away towards B site. Dia can't land the kill on Thomas, so B site's now opened up.
Yeah, they've got to try and bring that bomb back over to connector. One thing we are seeing from Endpoint is just how reaction-based they are, but how default-heavy they sort of are spreading themselves. Like, even when it looks like they've got a full site under control, they're still taking fights elsewhere. We're seeing a lot of lurk plays, a lot of movements where it's very solo-based in a lot of the duels being taken. But because they've got so much map awareness, it's just making it so easy to just crumble their opposition.
Tactical timeout called in for ENCE. Right moment to do so, appropriate timing. Got that 3 rounds early up for them, and responsive back from Endpoint has been 4 in kind, so back up into position with the rebuys coming into the CT forces. Of course, we'll see all the weaponry back on them. They've got their ecos and forces out of the way, so next gun round. AWP on Crucial and on Hades. Hades yet to really step up to the plate. It's been Speaks to Dotto being the guys who've been the main fraggers, but the AWP's now in his hands, so we know what he can do with this.
Yeah, we do, and it's all about being able to prove it up against Endpoint. A little bit slow up to that Park position. Tower boost coming through from Crucial, but nothing being seen out to that Heaven angle.
Yeah, nothing given up by ENCE. No one jump facing towards the boost spot on the short control either. Spinks is going to press forward towards the fountain position in the interim and try focus on that T-side force. He's hearing all footsteps. He's got to turn around at the AWP. He's got to focus on that Park position. Spinks and Snappy get all the kills between each other. Back out towards the B site. Snappy can strike. Spinks is traded, but now Hades knows exactly where the last man is. Crucial will fire away. But surely he's got to make a huge play to make this work.
Oh, what a crossfire just being set between Snappy and Spinks, and now Crucial probably going to be in a position where no one really offers up duels. Might be able to get this close-range engagement out from Snappy. If he gets that pick towards the top of Con, he can run over to B, but he just doesn't have the info.
Orpa looking in. Crucial can't do anything. Snappy with that frag. Makes it a triple and makes it a big, big fourth for ENCE. Fantastic stuff from Spinks here. All the pressure ahead of him. And the AWP wasn't even supporting him that much. That's the crucial part. Like, had that AWP been watching out from the birthday party area, that probably could have been enough to completely lock down without any casualties.
Yeah, it was just the riflers, wasn't it? Even in the setup where they're trying to get the AWP involved, doesn't need to be. And it just kind of proves how much ENCE can actually bring to the table when they've got a solid buy behind them, rather than just the force investment, just the absolute wrap of just the economy in total. Tied up scoreline. Endpoint actually doing a little bit of opening damage onto Hades.
Only a little bit, though. 68 points of health. He's still pretty okay. Still pretty decent, but nothing major and significant. Nothing that can lead to a definitive and easy kill for the Endpoint side. It's now going to have to play a bit of an effort at default here. Try and lean up towards that mid control here.
Yeah, Endpoint just trying to take connector from the top down. Not even having a lurk outside a monster, and that is always risky in case ENCE start going for a little bit of an info play, if they start slow walking, because they're going to be able to realize quite quickly there is nothing being leaned over to B.
Yeah, 3 players watching in this stack, and Endpoint starting to get aware of it. Hades catches the pick on the AWP instead. Frag found, Surreal can trade it back on Spinks, and rotations are inbound from Hades as well, so they're aware of this hit. Crucial, swung upon, the spray so good for Snappy. The nade back towards Long as well is going to catch a lot of damage on Max and Surreal next up, turning away. Oh, the adjustment to Matty Max gets Snappy a double. As Hades and Snappy are traded back by Thomas and Crucial, it'll make it a 2v3, tagged up on the retake.
Thomas getting the bomb down straight away, looking to reposition. Dia just flying into the site, though.
A smoke off position to get some cover back. Gonna get on the bomb here with a spray through the catch off D. Looking for Dotto next. They know that he's off the bomb, and Crucial will catch the kill shot and continue to hold the lead here, just about for Endpoint.
Very chaotic there from ENCE, because in that 2v2, when they see Thomas flying away and actually moving out of the bomb site, they realize that the bomb is sort of planted open for Pizza. Get that smoke down and just try and see if he can get onto the bomb straight away. Instead, Thomas just peeks straight back into the angle. They even just get a couple of spam shots. And after Snappy has a really, really great hold from the back of Dice, you almost expected that to be a little bit more successful, but for Endpoint, they recover that round well.
Oh, dear. Okay. Recovery kill to turn things back over the ENCE's favor again to start off in these rounds. Nades up as the walkout comes through from Endpoint into the B site. Rotations are coming from ENCE. That one player on short, though, is going to be the only B defensive. D is going to drop back, however. Smokes and Molotovs driving players away from the common positions. The headshot on the second player not quite landed, and now the rotations have got to come in from ENCE.
Just look for some extra frags, see if you can get some tags up with this scout, because they've already found the first kill and the tag onto Mighty Max.
Oh, dear. A little bit dangerously close to Thomas. The boost up will finally come through for him. Oh, that flick is fantastic. And now, Endpoint is suffering serious casualties. Hades, tag up of his own right. Dotto can finish off the kill. Double up, triple up, in fact. And secure the main rifles for ENCE as the defuse will come through.
What am I watching? What am I looking at right here? The scout shots, unbelievable. 2 kills to come in from D-Hub. We even saw Hades getting a tag, and then Deagle from Dotto just does all the work.
Man alive. This has really turned out to be interesting here for ENCE. 5 all to the board. And I mean, look, we kind of expected this one to be a bit of a difficult affair for Endpoint because they have lost this map before. But their pick, their confident fallback, not going as well in the early game as they'd like it to be. It is T-side, to be fair. Just a little bit more to be done. Force back coming in from the Endpoint side. Mac 10s, Galil, a couple of Deagles as well. Straight shot into the connector control. No one's contesting that here for ENCE.
It's just a straight brawl. And for Endpoint, they've played this map like 3 times more than ENCE have in the last 3 months. It gets played a hell of a lot for Endpoint, not so much for ENCE. And this kind of buy, how much success can they find with it? It's quite quick in towards the Banana and Bathrooms take.
And Mighty Max can lead that charge in. Hades will drop him with the AWP. Still deals with Max on the jump face. The Mac 10 tagging him to 13, but he still has the balls to continue extending around the corner. Looking past signpost, Spinks ready for Thomas next up. Takes that fight, wins it so easily, and that's the Galil dropped. The only rifle they had. Surreal will try to get it back, but this Deagle being aggressive does find the pick back at least, but 4 HP for him. dead at the hands of the P250. I'd imagine if the Hades indeed makes it a triple kill. And now Crucial, AK in hand, got an impossible clutch to make happen here. He does win against Dia. Knows that Hades is somewhere in that corner, but flanks inbound from ENCE, and he's got to do something ridiculous to make this work.
How is Hades still alive out from this long position? Been able to get away with so much in the round. Backstab coming out from long. Crucial's got to get a move on.
Yeah, Snappy's closing in the pincers. I think it's too late. Yep. Kill found, easy as. Lead regained here by ENCE. Endpoint now down to fully eco here in round 12.
Yeah, the economy game has just been wrecked from both of these sides, and now it's a position where Endpoint are on the receiving end of it. This is a chance now for the international squad to start building up a bit of a streak and start working on their lead of 1.
We'll start to extend it, try and get that 10-5 half in for the CT side. Again, Endpoint have nothing to work with here in this round, so they've got to take it on the chin. A P250 for Crucial, double flash from Mighty Max, no Kevlar. Nothing at all. Just walk out from the SMG, I should say. Presses up. Look for Mighty Max first and foremost, drops that bomb immediately. Perfect frag.
It's just trying to farm as much as you can. Dia's got to be careful about like properly overly extending and just getting a 1-for-1 and that's it. You want to try and keep that SMG in play. Fall back to the site after you've got the opening man advantage and just give Endpoint the respect.
No responses from the T side as of right now. Thomas has been tagged with the bomb on his back. Of course, someone had to go back and get it. Invaded the Aya of Dia temporarily. They are going to catch the Aya of Dotso. Just takes 2 frags easy. AUG looking for the triple. Taking out of dodge. He's on 19 points of health, so Resmut will go down to ensure that they remain casualty-less here for the ENCE side. The SMG instead for Dotto can be sacrificial. Dia has Snappy to support him. The Surreal now becomes the last player alive.
Just hoping for a little bit of something. Bit of an overswing. Bit of a just tap to the head. Does have a bit of a chance that the Dia tags him up quite heavy, but looking to get a kill, not going to be. Snappy being able to find his 12th kill, ends up to 7. Endpoint going to be able to buy it back, but they're not going to be able to get an AWP out for Crucial.
They're going to take straight AKs across the entire board. Still the AWP in for ENCE, the SMG still rocking out for Dia, of course. Pretty decent impact with that weapon in the last round, but up against the AK is going to be a bit more difficult for them. So, see how they go. ENCE. Default play, smokes down. Mighty Max and Surreal will press on. Crucial. Flashbang standing up here as Endpoint start their slow rotations into the mid area. Let's continue walking slowly into position, hoping that ENCE are going to go up an opening frag, and they almost do towards Monster, but it's blind space from Thomas. He can't capitalize on the little damage he's done to Dia.
Snappy needs to get a little bit of info towards the top of Con, and that's probably where Spinks is going to come through. Try peek through the smoke just to dissipate. Allow the AWP to get the first and the second follow-up even more. Drop the bomb from Spinks. It is too easy.
Oh my word. Endpoint ripped apart by a single spray. Now Snappy comes in with a backstab to clean up Mezzy as well. And Spinks was tagged so heavily, sure, but no one gets the kill on him. It looks like all 5 are going to stay alive here for ENCE. Endpoint. 1 by 1 they peak and 1 by 1 they fall. What happened there?
What did you say before? That they've had a little bit more time to practice? How is no one peeking together? How are we not seeing 2 individuals wide swing the angle at the same time? They just kept walking into the pre-fire, really, as Spinks.
It's not a bad question. I mean, why is there no utility there either?
Yeah, true. No flash, no nothing.
A lot of things going wrong in that particular play for Endpoint, and Thomas try to recover this here. Flashbang in, gets the kill on Hades, just about switching out to the AWP. Might be able to secure a bomb plant with this, actually. Get rid of the AWP of his own right. He's left the AK, though. He's running back for it. He's going down here. 10 seconds, no chance to get the bomb plant. And Snappy will find the frag.
No AWP, but double AK still being held in by Snappy and Dia. And just look at this again. First peek comes in 1 by 1. No utility whatsoever. Dry as you like. And for Endpoint, that's just not good enough for a team of this kind of a caliber. And a team like ENCE are going to punish you for that.
Absolutely they are. Like, ENCE are a very experienced squad. Even though they might be at the tier 2 level, like you talk about the individuals that they have here and some of the places that ENCE have been, and you know that they have a lot of experience that they could share with each other. Even though those players might not be part of the lineup anymore, they definitely have, their impact has definitely been felt by this current roster. Surreal with a couple of picks back here to try and punish the aggression in towards the monster face. And Mighty Max, what? That came out of nowhere. Speaks to the 1v4 all of a sudden. I guess that, well, there's punishments that even Endpoint can make against ENCE.
Well, so it seemed like the AK was looking out towards the short position, and then Hades was looking for the run out from Monster, and then Mighty Max just gets 2 kills with 1 bullet.
One on 4. Spinx will catch at least one exit frag, but now he's revealed his position. Maybe best for him to go ahead and save the AUG. He's got a smoke and a defuse kit, so in theory there's a ninja defuse possible, but the problem of getting past Mezzy and Surreal and Mighty Max will isolate Surreal at least. They're giving up the 1v1s bit by bit, but Orpa finally been seen. Now Spinx has got to rotate back towards Graffiti or towards Jungle. That also works. We 6 on the board for the Endpoint cap. ENCE just going to go rush there. They weren't quite expecting that.
It was very much caught off guard. Not seeing it at all. And for ENCE, just being caught a little bit flat-footed. Endpoint, one of the first times we've actually seen a little bit more of aggression, a little bit more of a push out to the B side. It's on an eco and it comes out successful.
All the rebuys back in. Both sides with rifles. ENCE. AWP versus the Endpoint's AWP as well. Crucial is found first. Hades kicks things off on the right foot. Dealing with the big green gun, but no one else shows their teeth here for the T side.
Aggression out from Connector. Bit of an unnecessary duel coming through from Snappy after they won out that first fight. Mezzy trades it back.
Spinx can respond towards Mighty Max in the mid control, though he also aggresses. This time it's not unnecessary because it works. And advantage slips back the favour of ENCE. Endpoint. Seeing Dia, who peeks before that smoke blooms, can get away with the kill, which maintains the man advantage as Surreal finds his response. But now they know where that bomb is. Do they continue committing to the B site?
This is just where they could start running the clock a little bit for Endpoint. Start working with some of the sound cues. Mezzy knows that there's someone up towards that bathrooms area. Spinx is looking into the top of con, and you've got to wonder for Mezzy, how does he preempt the angle?
Gotta be careful about this because Spinx did this so well a few rounds ago. Remember, we got that 3K lineup, and Mezzy just peeked right into it again. Again with no util support. Again with no second teammate to face with him. And ultimately that costs them. Endpoint. 30 seconds. Surreal's looked away at the wrong moment. If Spinx catches this shot in the back of the... Oh, yeah, he's going to catch it. He's so ready for this. There it is. 3 kills for Spinx once again to close out a 9-6 for ENCE. And Endpoint. It was their T side, but still not the best of showings here for the first half of their map.
Yeah, Endpoint lost an Israeli, and ENCE got one. And look at what he's been able to do to that Endpoint side. Spinx has been all around crazy. A very, very top man. And, well, top odds really coming through from Coolbet too. 1.62 down for ENCE. A little bit surprised that they're not more one-sided, knowing that it is a 9-6 half. But, hey, they know better than me.
We've been pretty spot on with in terms of the favourites overall so far today, so...
Yeah.
Still rating Endpoint having a bit of a chance in their CT half, so let's see whether the CT side can work out well for the UK squad. They've got the double flash and smoke for Snappy, Molotov in for Soto. Diffuse for Mezzy with the HE, flash smoke HE for Mighty Max as well, so full set of utility. That's what they can do. And walk into the mid control here for ENCE.
A bit of a bait setup with some of the sound cues of the rotation back towards the site. Surreal just giving up the angle before a contact comes in.
Not really facing carefully, though. Doesn't want to give up too much. Oh, perfect shot on Hades. Beautiful. Doesn't take any utility or upgrade pistols. D is still on raid boss. Smokes down, Molotov's up, Surreal still so close, Crucial's right behind him, Glock's inbound, Crucial will try and bail out Surreal and he'll be successful in doing so. P250 can't land his heads as Surreal is falling towards Spinks instead. Bomb plant on default can try and be attempted here, as long as Dia covers one side and he gets 2 headshots for it, with Snappy following up on Thomas and all, and Nezzy's left alone. Kevlarless and cornered, and now dead to 10 for ENCE.
Very clever to be able to bait in just the retaking players before the bomb had even gone down. Endpoint with a 5-on-3 think to themselves, let's just start throwing it away and getting aggressive. Let's just get this round over and done with. And instead, that's where ENCE really start coming alive. The P250 being able to back up the Glock, and the kills just started coming in so damn quickly.
Smokes up on Dia. Rebuy coming in immediately to go towards that mid default, at least indicate that they're going for that, but they're actually out towards the B play. Only upgrade pistols here on Endpoint's force up. The Eagle CZ, the scout for Mezzi as well. But not much else for them here. They're backed up, holding their stack.
At least they've got the read. They've got the large majority of players out to the B side. When does this flash come in? Might even be too late.
Oh, shot on Hades, Dotto follows suit. Third and fourth players in the back of the sites themselves. Pistol close range, White Man's can't get that one frag. Crucial can find the trade against Hades, but that's still a man up here for Endpoint, for ENCE, I should say. Mezzi trying to catch a scout kill, but he just can't do it here.
This has got to be a save. There's no way you're going to be able to win a 2 versus 3 like that. T-side are now starting to peek forward. Dia dealing with Crucial. That probably ends the round right there.
Yeah, got to fall back. Shot off and Spinks at least is going to get gained, but no kill against him, and ENCE can hold on to their main weapons as standard, keep all the key rifles. Now having to reinvest into round 18. Endpoint have got to hold on to this scout as Mezzi realizes that as well. Dia is going to back up. And now starts to get scary here for the UK side. Picked into this map for a reason, and right now that reason is being questioned.
Endpoint are just lacking that oomph, that X-factor player. That's someone that's going to clutch for you. That's someone that's going to get you 2 kills. Whereas for ENCE, they might not exactly have that player, but they've had moments of that kind of a player. We've seen Spinks be in situations like that. We've seen Dia be in situations like that. But when I look at a lot of the playmakers coming through from Endpoint, not a lot of them are finding a success and finding those big rounds necessary.
No big round can come through for them here. It's just basic eco where the upgrade pistols have been saved in or bought down, or a couple of individuals down to minimum of $1,700 for Endpoints. That way the loss bonus can build up and they can rebuy, but yeah, not a round you can expect too much out of them. With Matt Tens of Dia and Snappy, we're looking to farm up some money. Messi's already there with a scout, the one weapon that was saved without Kevlar, of course. And they just instantly disappear behind those smokes, do not want to take any sort of face against them. But Dia does get caught by Crucial.
A lot of nades going out towards that dumpster position, and even Snappy's thinking to himself, well, I want to farm.
So we'll try and do, face in, Nezzy gets another headshot, hold on a second. Crucial next to face against Hades, he catches that kill against him, Thomas finds his response, Spinks, Chan trying back, Deagle in for the backstab, it's Surreal, oh no. Endpoint might steal the Seco back here, AK Spinks looking up, tapping through, getting killed off by Surreal instead, and they steal one back from ENCE.
Honestly, I'm just so confused. How are we getting these rounds today where the force buy doesn't get one out, but the eco then does? What a beautiful take of the A side. That shot from Mezzi with the scout, trying to just get into the site.
Now, ultimately, I think was the turning point there for the Endpoint camp. Big, big kill from Mezzi. Again, we talk about him in such a glowing light because of his previous history on teams like Cloud9. He is bottom fragging, unfortunately, so in terms of this match, he's not quite had the same level of impact, although with that being said, he is a support player, so 11-7. Warp in a Crucial, looking to bring the fight back. Good shot on Snappy, immediately starts things off for Endpoint, but Toto finds just as quick of a trade.
That's going to help build up a little bit of confidence out for Crucial. Hasn't had the easiest of time with the AWP. Flash out, Surreal completely blind, turns back in, only gets a 1-for-1. More picks out for Monster Money. Max even gets one through the smoke, and that drops the bomb.
They won't know about it just yet. Spinks are going to rotate back to grab it regardless. kind of needs to. CTs are going to start refacing, and Mighty Max will see that bomb, see that man. Catch off a dink on Spinks as well, making the kills pretty easy for Crucial and Mezzy. This should be an 8th for Endpoint unless Spinks lands the perfect headshot, so they just peek together and line up for him, and they almost did right there, but it comes up good for the CT side.
And Endpoint have got to work with this now. A lot of trading going on in that situation out from Monster, but it was really the 2-for-1 that Mighty Max was able to get that sort of got them over the line. And for ENCE, Money is in a very crippled situation where they can snappy actually go and buy. Kind of surprised they're actually forcing it here.
Okay. Well, I guess they think that Endpoint's money is pretty low, and they'd be right sort of to assume so. There's a couple of high rollers. Tech-9's the Eagles, M4, AK, AWP out for Crucial, and ENCE playing up, doing damage to the likes of D. Smokes inbound will try and suppress here towards Monster, so Endpoint will just do their work at keeping this at bay.
Yeah, even Mezzy's rotated out to Heaven, so this is going to be 4 players on the B side. Ed's going to be running straight into the stack.
Speaking of stacks, the nade stack. On through towards that booty spot, flashbang in, Thomas spraying through, caught offline, and the USP cannot get drawn in time, neither was he even having the vision to do so. Mighty Max and Surreal get those kills instead. Surreal doubling up here towards the short control, Mezzy supports Dotto, and Hades, well, only with 1 exit frag, that's as far as it goes. 3 alive for Endpoint. 11-9, back within 2 events, and there should be no force buy back at the T side now.
Oh, definitely not now. That was a little bit risky to go in for a buy like that. Does set you one sort of in the future as I guess, but at the same point for Endpoint, it's just about recovering. We've seen a lot of circumstances out on Overpass where they've looked like they've been on the back foot. They haven't really been able to take charge of their map pick at all, and this could be the moment in which they start to do so.
Now, basic eco here, Endpoint should be able to catch up pretty nicely. Nades onto D. Crucial supporting Mezzy's official kill. And the AWP being a Crucial landing onto Spinks to get his kill as well. So, 5 on 3 gained. Again, Endpoint picking apart these pistols pretty effectively. Mezzy's forced very far forward. I don't know if Hades is ready for this. He was actually, gets a dink off for it, but now Mezzy has got to fall back.
Last thing you want to do is lose the AK, especially when you're up against an eco. End's just trying to see if they can keep picking in towards the AK,
lovely.
and Mezzy. Decent sequence, very, very well held, being able to follow up. And for ENCE, you've got to wonder when's the tap pause going to come in from them, because they are starting to let it slip a little bit.
Indeed they are. Oh, well,
there it is.
There you go. Speak of the devil and he shall appear. Speak of the attack pause and it shall be called. Second tactical, of course, for ENCE in this matchup. And again, close to being caught up to. The last time they took a tactical was when Endpoint gained a definitive lead at the very start of the game, if you recall back to then. ENCE still have a bye here as well, so they have to try and find a new way to outplay Endpoint, else things could get a little bit more dicey for them, because Endpoint will be able to equalize, then take a lead off the back of an eco.
Yeah, it's all about the opening man advantage, really. Who's going to be able to sort of strike first? Hades has had a bit of a quiet game. I want to say both AWPers, actually, Crucial and Hades. Hasn't really been an AWP-heavy map. We've seen it out a considerable margin of times, but it hasn't been sort of the role or even the weapon to get a lot of multi-frags and to get a lot of insane flicks and what have you. It's just been a little bit average.
Flashes, smokes up, AKs. Face forward early, but Spinks has taken damage on the nades. 2 of them landing in his direction. 23 points of HP. Snappy catches Crucial for a bit of damage, but the AWP peeks back in. Hades can respond to Mezzy at least, so it'll be a 4 versus 4.
That's more like it. Get the AWPs a bit more involved out from the bathroom's entrance. Donno's going for a bit of a walkout from Monster, but Thomas is just there, out at grill, ready for him.
AWP looking up. Look down the range into the bathrooms. Can't see anything on the T side. ENCE being very careful where they take face, but Dia might just walk into the trap regardless. Not ready for Mighty Max to be pushed up at long, so 4 versus 2 now. ENCE so tagged up as well. Hades on 48, Spinks on 23.
It's almost a near impossible round, especially when you've got the backstab coming in for Mighty Max.
And Four sees his man, catches the headshot, captures the second kill for a triple overall. 11th rounds towards of Endpoint and ENCE have nothing to work with. They might go half season this round, which they will. What can they realistically hope for here? A round itself might be a little bit too far out of the realm of possibility, I feel.
Yeah, they have got a fair bit of upgrades, though. When you look at the actual pistols coming forward, they've got the util, they've got 3 sets of Kevlar out. So while it may not be an entire round, this could still be quite a damaging eco. Maybe if they get a bit of pace behind it.
They are going fast in to the connector control. Snappy's going to make his way up. Dia again catches nade out of the T-con position. Snappy moves up, Orp fires away, doing damage towards Spinks, and all the bullets fly straight into Crucial. Snappy will catch that kill, grab that Orb, look back into the next man, which is going to be Mezzy over at Signpost. 2 players go ahead and rotate. The 4th man also going to join the Endpoint defensive. Molotovs and nades. Snappy will get caught burning, quite heavily so as well. So Mezzy can swing back. Mighty Max gets traded. Mezzy doubles up. Tia responds back to a 3 versus 2. Surreal trying to hold down the site here alongside Thomas, peeking up to his position, dropping that bomb, taking his back up, leaving it all on Spinks. 1v2 clutch, and he cannot land the headshot, so Endpoint will take the lead.
I got to give a lot of praise to Endpoint and how quickly those rotations came up for the B site, because ENCE were in a very, very good position there. They overwhelmed the AWPer, they pick it up, the utility out towards that long position made it more so difficult for a follow-up kill to come through from Snappy. ENCE will probably be quite happy about that round, but maybe a little bit disappointed they weren't able to do more with it.
Yeah, back up on the buy here for ENCE. Orps, AKs, M4's out, and Hades. Ash is going over out of the T-con position. Hades is going to get forced to hell back. Doing a decent job at forcing Endpoint away from common angles and winning the fights when they do take them. Endpoint have always found a way to return, though. And they're going to look back into connector here with the AWP opened up by the M4. And we'll close it in the end as the default continues to play out towards Monster. Bomb's yet to commit.
It's very, very deep coming through from Endpoint, not really allowing a lot of aggression to come out. Mezzy is probably the only player forward-facing out from the bathrooms. And even for ENCE, they are taking their sweet time in this default, finally starting to get a little bit more rotates out towards sort of this long and fountain position. Just a jump spotting coming through from Crucial out from Dyson APC.
Jumping up and over. Snappy Dia. Hades going to get boosted up to look over APC. Can't see anything in the CT side, though. Endpoint, so quiet from them and so slow from ENCE. 40 seconds. They've got to go for the hit.
CT's have got to be careful. They don't get trapped. They don't get too aggressive because no one's got to be on the A side directly.
Slow walk-ins from Crucial. Mezzy catches the kill on Spinks. Now they've got to turn back towards the long controls. Crucial lands his first, not his second frag. Mezzy can follow suit with a double up. Needs to make it a triple or needs to get his backup involved. Nades up from Mighty Max. Opts not to go for it. He doesn't know it's going to be a default plant. Thinks he'll open for Wars bank. And now ENCE have Snappy and Hades to hold this 2v4. 2 players coming in from the back and 2 from mid. Thomas caught off first, gets Snappy to fall. It's all on Hades to go nuclear. He doesn't even start his vision. Surreal shuts him down. Endpoint will have that 13th.
Oh, we're starting to see a lot of composure coming out for the Brit side going into this CT half, because really, out on the T side, there were some lackluster moments. There wasn't a great amount of success being found, but just look at this streak really come alive now. 7 rounds in a row for Endpoint, and a lack of bomb plans too from ENCE.
AK's back out for this T-side line. This jump face against Dio will force him forward. The run boost. Trying to get out a little bit earlier towards the T-con position, but it won't make much of a difference because the CT side is not facing that angle. Again, it's heavy towards B side. The AWPer Crucial extending so far as to look down short pipe. Gets nothing, he turns away for a moment. Hades gets caught down to 36. And Spinks gets opened up upon towards connector. Crucial starts things off.
They tried to do that only a couple of rounds ago. It didn't actually land a kill, so they think, okay, let's try and do that again. And it works out this time. 5 on 3 now being gained. Thomas gets a little bit of tag damage to reel even further, but no picks back from ENCE.
Even going to kill on a play on the short pipe, so sprays were going manic for ENCE, but didn't work out for them. They're now pretty fast to press back behind the B site entryways. Dia up on short, hearing some footsteps. Looking back just in case. 55 seconds. ENCE gonna have to make this move relatively soon, but what can they do? 3 players to find directly on the B site.
They're running out of steam, and even if they come out of Monster, Crucial's on the other side.
Flashbang in, there's a shot for the AWPer, looks back towards short, lands it on Dia as well. It's all the Hades. 1v5 on the clutch, gets the first kill, will go no further. 4 kills for Crucial, 14 rounds for Endpoint, and they have brought this back from the brink.
They've just been very, very momentum-based. And for ENCE, it seems like they've hit this sort of brick wall. And no matter what they've thrown at it, no matter what curveballs, what sort of quicker rounds, the slower rounds, they're just not finding it. Another situation in which, in round 25, in the last, because they don't get a bomb plant, they don't have that extra cash injection to get the buy together. They've got a half buy and play for OT.
T-side forces out on the Tech 9s, playing in towards the Monster default. Endpoint, standard stuff with a bit more aggression coming in towards long for Mezzy. A lot of long moments over the course of his time on Endpoint, but right now none of them will be pressing forward that far. They're looking to connector in particular for Crucial, which is going to be a pretty pivotal part of the map to take here. Is AWP come in and support the defensive in a moment's time because the execution is coming back for the ENCE camp. Molotovs and smokes, counter flash involved. Getting Thomas to go completely blind. Swing back at the AK, doesn't get 2 frags, only the one. Mighty Max also responded to a 2 versus 2, so this could be a bomb plant here.
That flash from Thomas was 5 seconds too late. It came in way, way after they already started running out for Monster. Plant goes open for the Heaven position and for Graffiti. Crucial hasn't seen anything, but Mezzy gets the kill.
It's all going to rest on Hades here. Wanting to see a big round from him all game long so far. He's backing up towards ramp, looking up to Heaven. Crucial didn't spot him. Going to look back at Mezzy, catch that spray. Look a bit too far forward, and Crucial's going to get the information to tag him up and take him down with a P250 kill shot. Defuse stuck, 15 map points for Endpoint.
He must have made a sound cue because I heard the water noise coming through out towards the site itself. So they realized his position pretty much straight away when the bomb gets planted. Winning out that 1 versus 1. Very impressive with the leg shot and then just getting out with the pistol. Endpoint, this streak, it might not ever end.
Indeed, it might not. Double up setup, M4's in. ENCE have got one last chance to try to bring this back. 4 rounds to take for them in a row to take us to overtime, else Endpoint will win out their map pick. Overpass might not have been the cleanest of starts, but in this CT side, they have again closed the deficit, put one into their own. Dotto will find the opening kill on Surreal. Hades AWP giving up information. Messy's going to wait for him to peek.
Yeah, Mezzy peaks first, he's not going to win the fight. At least if he plays here, plays out the long game, Hades might not be able to hit the shot this close range. Crucial now starting to back him up, but looking into the bathrooms.
Thinking there might be a mid player, no one's covering mid at all. Endpoint have already lost a player, so they're a bit thinned out in that position. Oh, Hades leaning away, footsteps heard. Now Mezzy's chance to creep forward will come through. Mezzy catches the kill for it. AWP lands a leg shot on Spinks and backs the hell out of dodge. Getting straight out towards long.
Open.
And ENCE is going to full send back into A. Someone's got to go back for the bomb, though.
Yeah, that's true. But even for Dia, this play, he can get out towards Dumpster, try and get into the Heaven position because they don't know that he's on A right now.
Ashes in, Crucial's watching with the AWP. He's so ready for Dia to face. Mighty Max starts leaning in, smokes down, Dia watching. Gets up a Dumpster, shots out for the AWP. But not landing a frag at the moment. Bomb Corridor was inside, actually. They've pulled the rotation. This is so smart from ENCE.
Oh, they've pulled everyone. The only problem is, though, they don't have the man advantage anymore.
Dia's still lurking around here, though. He's going to cut off rotations. As long as he cuts them off here, then that's going to be enough. Footsteps heard, Thomas will get caught, the AWP still lands on one man, 2v4, but Dia's position is so powerful. Will he get seen? Yes, he will. Crucial catches the frag, and now Snappy's all that remains. He's got to hold off against so many players, so far out in the open, and it's not going to happen. ENCE cannot survive as Endpoint take the first map. Their pick of overpass, 16-11.
But that was a threatening-looking endpoint. That really, really was. Once we got into the second half, that was a 9-6 lead coming through from ENCE. They won pistol and the anti-eco, but as soon as they lost that eco round, it seemed like it all fell apart from there.
And Endpoint take full control. Again, they picked into overpass, a bit of a risky one because it looked like at the start of that ENCE were really going to take control, repeat history, but Vertigo with the second map. ENCE decided on that one, so we head towards that after the break.
from the outside, who would know what lies beneath? Unleash it with a machine as savage as you are. Lenovo Legion. Stylish outside, savage inside.
This is how legends are made.
Well, a challenge for Endpoint to make their map pick work, but ultimately it does come out good for them with a very good second half on the CT side of overpass, ultimately taking map 1 and looking towards map 2 of Vertigo. Picked in by ENCE, which we did talk about was probably not going to happen at all, but they decided onto it at the end of the day. Not one of their most played maps in the pool overall, but when they play it, they tend to win it, Dwayne.
It seems like it's been a shift into the map pool because really, you look about a couple of months ago, it wasn't being played, and now it's starting to be introduced, and introduced in a pretty good way. They've got a 100% win rate on it. They're on a good winning streak. So when you sort of compare the pair, things look quite promising here for ENCE.
Yeah, and you take a look at the teams that ENCE are winning on this map in particular, and it does show some promise. Nothing incredible in terms of, like, you know, the top-end tier 2 teams. They've got Harvu, who we know are in a bit of a slump right now. K23, who are not quite who they are. Fiend is a pretty good result. And 2 matches against Hyenas, who I guess you could argue is a bit of a borderline team as well. So in terms of that, like, ENCE have got some promising stuff, but it's not 100% right there for them, I think. You're right about it being introduced into the map pool. But right now, in terms of what we have coming on paper, like, there's a lot of potential, I think, in this particular map up. And Endpoint, well, I mean, we talk about teams who aren't quite who they were in previous, in those results there for the ENCE side. Endpoint, not quite who they were compared to the original side that were able to make Vertigo a definitive map in their pool. So I don't know whether or not this is going to hold itself together here for the Brits.
And even not even going that far forward, but just going to January, February, their lineup on Vertigo was so much stronger than their lineup is today. So you've got to wonder if that's going to make a big difference at all.
We're going to have to find out here at this particular stage. Endpoint have elected to start things off on the CT side. So ENCE one good pistol to set themselves up in the pacing and see whether they can put the early start in again against Endpoint. It's the pistol round of Vertigo. The defuse get over on Mighty Mags, the double flash in for him, flash smoke HE for Mezzi, and Dotto will pass off the P250 off to Dia and take a little bit of utility in for his own right. It's slow walking in for ENCE to get onto this pistol startup. We know that they have a very good T-side basis on this map, so let's see whether they can hold their own and instantly put their decimation on the Endpoint side. Smoke's down, Thomas is taking first contact.
Barely any information. Just that one shoulder bait is at least going to gather something, but 4 players on A, the CTs have stacked up well.
Thomas looks out towards the alley position, gets Hades first and foremost, almost thinks down his own teammate to 9 HP. Surreal taking a tag, crucial next casualty. Mighty Max lines up 2 more though, looks back and a flick towards Snappy, makes it a triple, and Dia's late lurk out of mid is also going to get detected. Max with a quadra, Kevlarless and all, and a beautiful pistol to start off for Endpoint.
What is going on with Max today? He has had some really, really big rounds, and that one was it right there. 4 players on A, the early wrap coming through out from Rap, and Mighty Max, I mean, even the third shot, and to have the awareness of looking back out to mid to dealing with that super late lurk from Dia, that was a phenomenal round to start off.
You know, what a fantastic opener. That sets the pace against ENCE, of course, talking about the ending few rounds for Endpoint and how good they were in the second half, and well, potential right here to carry the momentum forward into the rest of this particular map up. They have found the early pistol and now the first opening frag, but Mezzi is traded at least by the likes of Spinks. Crucial waits back at the SMG, hoping for another good kill back to maintain the man advantage, but Dia gets it back for his team instead.
Oh, someone's got to check this position. Someone has got to be keeping their eyes out on sandbags.
They're not. 2 kills, not quite a third for Mighty Max. He's great to pull it back to a 2 versus 2, though. That's as far as it will go. Surreal's backstab coming in so slowly, so late into the round. The bomb plant will be secured here, but what can he do for this retake? He's got no kit.
Oh, they don't know about where he is, though, so this can actually be quite cheeky to deny the bomb from going down, swing out wide, easy pick.
That's big. Flashbang in, could put an incendiary on that bomb as well. Spinks across to the site itself, though. Swing back, SMG +2, gets a lot of damage done. Surreal doesn't have a HE, though. If only he did. Spinks swings back and gets the kill in with a deagle shot. 3 kills to his name overall. And a good return round, a force buy for ENCE.
Mighty Max seemed like he was really trying to recover that round by himself, just being overlooked out for the sandbags, but even Spinks just being able to deliver forward, and deliver you can with these odds. 2.5 up for Endpoint on ENCE's map pick. Not the favorites moving forward to try and see if they can get a 2-0 from Coolbet. But it is a bit of a way to bounce back, isn't it? Winning the force buy.
And Coolbet have been wrong about those odds in the past, and of course they were wrong about the first map as well, but similar sort of money line here for the Endpoint camp, so I imagine that there's potential again for them to be able to pick this apart. So far they are showing that they've still got something ahead of them as they find that opening frag of the pistols, forcing the issue back and forcing Snappy to fall first.
Yeah, that's not the start that you're looking for ENCE. Endpoint, yeah, Messi gets tagged up a hell of a lot, but it's still just playing the numbers. It's going to come down to the read too. Crucial thinking about maybe re-aggressing again.
Or seeing Dia. Dia takes his shots, and Crucial does not want to face that again. Flashbanging instead will force them back here. Behind the tops. Bullets will fly in from both sides, connect some damage to the Deagle. Not much done towards ENCE, though. They're going to try and fight back instead.
Just try and see if they can spam up, but for Endpoint, they're getting to a position where they're not really getting tagged up that heavily. The one big bonus that ENCE have is obviously the map control, but the amount of nades too.
A lot of presence here on the CT4Cs. Damage done. Crucial. Part of the 4-man stack they have here towards the A site. If ENCE continue pressing on here, they're going to have to go through every one of these players. Crucial and Messi are low, so those can be 2 easy picks. Everybody else is going to be the concern here. Max, Thomas, Surreal. The Eagles in hand, a CZ for Thomas and all. Surreal tapping his way forward as Thomas does get overwhelmed. Surreal's going to burn very heavily to the Molotov in the back line. Crucial gets 1 trade back, but doubles up on Hades to a 2 versus 2 as his teammates are falling around him, and he picks up that Galil, turns it back. Deagle up top, seeing Dotto, but Dotto locks onto him before he takes his shot. Spinks crosses back to the B site. Dotto corner spray, flank back, 1 versus 1. Spinks is just behind the orange boxes. Crucial still going to try and take his fight. 13 HP, he's done minimal damage to Spinks here, but 1 good headshot's all he needs, and it does not line up for him. Spinks will just claim the clutch, just claim the round for ENCE.
And that's the second clutch in a row now to come in from Spinks, and for ENCE, they didn't give up on that at all. We saw the way that for Endpoint, they won out the first duel. They keep prodding and pressing out towards that alley entrance and towards the front of ramp, just making it a little bit uncomfortable for ENCE. But even after all of the information gets gained, they still go for the cross smokes. They still try and take A, and eventually they win the rounds, resetting Endpoint now.
Now 4 USPs across the board here. Any damage done to ENCE, though, by Endpoint would be massive in terms of the reset potential. D is going to find the first frag on Surreal, unfortunately, so no such potential in this particular round. Snappy does get tagged up out to the mid defaults. Nade's also tagging up a little bit, so bits and pieces going the way of the Endpoint side, but as they try and force forward, they do get picked apart by Hades and Spinks, so 2v5. And, well, A side's completely open. They're going to walk into the B play, though.
A simple round coming in for ENCE. The pistols not really being able to do all too much for Endpoint, but it does set themselves up to get the good buy forward, get rifles out for everybody. Mighty Max actually buying down into a FAMAS to just get that extra little bit of utility forward. No kit, though, coming out for the city basis.
Yeah, it means the retake's going to be a bit more difficult, and with the way that ENCE are playing, he may be looking likely for a retake here. Back ahead, Kevlar on 3 players means that Dia and Snappy especially, can have some very easy pickings. If this Mac 10 gets anything done, then that's going to be bonus money for ENCE. It's basically a bonus round to a certain extent. The money's still not amazing here for the T sideline. They kind of need a bomb plant. Snappy does strike first on Thomas. Deal with him. Wrapping in against Surreal, who loses his life to Dia instead. A jump face round the corner, and now Endpoint is saving.
As soon as you get that pick out from mid and you know Snappy's wrapping B, doesn't matter if Dia gets that kill or not, you've just got to pull the distraction. And that's why he sort of jumps over, tries to pull the crosshair placement over. Dodo even looking to try and see if he can get a bit of an exit frag towards the bottom of ramp. Crucial pick it out for the right-hand side. Great adjustment in from the AK. This could be the CTs all falling.
Messi trying to hold on, and indeed he does go down. Only one casualty against the name of ENCE, and now the economy can start to build here. 4-1, Endpoint back up on the upgrades here, back up on the half-buy, because there is nothing left for them in the money.
It was just the play out from mid that just opened up the round. And even for Dia, just ridiculous that as soon as he lands, he gets that kill. And Dodo is just positioned so perfectly that once they've opened up B, and once they already definitively know that they're going to win that round, he's in a position to look for extra kills.
The extra frags coming in so effectively here for ENCE, and Endpoint just having nothing much that they can really work with. The Deagles will try to take face, but if Surreal goes for the angle that he's looking for, he's going to fall right into the hands of Dia. He's got Thomas alongside him here that equal face, seeing they do catch Dia. That's one good frag found. Thomas follows suit. Okay, that's much better for Endpoint.
Just what they need. Bit of an opening advantage, recover a couple of weapons. ENCE, on the other hand, though, still looking to try and take a duel out from this ramp position, but they need pickbacks.
Spray through. Hades catches Mighty Max next up. 4 versus 3. Molotov's also inbound. Forcing Mezzi back as Spink starts looking up. Rotation potential to grab that bomb and start pushing it into the ramp control. ENCE definitively going towards the A site, I feel.
Yeah, they've been very, I guess, I don't want to say aware of where they're going, but it seems like they don't mind giving up the information of where the setup is. They've been very noisy about a lot of their offenses out on T, and even for Endpoint, they're just grouping up towards Alley.
Crucial watching. Deagle shot just landed the tag on Dotto, not the headshot itself. There's another CT out there though. M4 spray for Thomas goes everywhere but to Hades. He does a little bit of tag damage on the second spray. His teammates are falling though. The 2 M4s are in. Now just 1 M4 left for Surreal. Caught by Hades as well. Dotto through the smoke, catches the frag. Secures the 5th round for ENCE. Decent effort there for the Endpoint eco, but ultimately not going that well for them. Rifles back out for round 7.
I don't know what's decent about that. I'm frustrated. You get a 5-on-3 with 2 weapons being saved in, you don't get another pick? I mean, come on. We need to see more from that. When you get an opportunity to present itself like that, when you realize that you've completely cleared out the B stairs and you can start rotating players back to A, I even expect a 1-for-1 at some moment. Maybe it's not to win the round, but it's to follow up damage, and instead, they just can't get away with anything.
All spruced up here for Hades. Another good buyback here. ENCE, of course, plenty of money to go forward in this next round with. Still lacking in a couple of departments for Endpoint. Still 3 players without head Kevlar. Limited utility, no diffuse kits except for Mighty Max. Endpoint, not the city side start that they wanted here.
And nade on towards Surreal's position. Lucky there's only 1 to go in. Dodo actually taking a lot of damage elsewhere. That's towards a ramp position.
Smokes in, flashes over the AWP. Hoping for contact, hoping for a kill, but so far, so little is gained. Mighty Max starts leaning. Molotov's in, Hades, and Spinks. Opening up with contact and a kill against Crucial. Thomas will go back and forth against Snappy, meanwhile towards the B side, leaving it all to Surreal to defend.
B-side's open, round is over. There's nothing that you can do here for the CTs. You even try and rotate back. Hades even taking a pick out from ramp. And if you're Endpoint, you're so mad that B-side gets taken. You're down in a 2v4, and then Hades is still out at ramp.
And this is making this look so easy here, ENCE. Endpoint shown very little contest here in these rounds. A far cry compared to how things were down over on Overpass. Spinks will just start slow facing in against Mighty Max. Tagged up. Just falls down to the man here. Such HP damage done towards ENCE, and it just sucks that it never really worked out for Endpoint, but they're going to take a tactical timeout because, yeah, they realized that that was just dire. Absolutely dire from them, and it has been for the last 6 rounds.
It hasn't been easy. And even when you do compare the maps from the first to the second, it only really started getting out of hand for the ENCE side when we started getting into the second half, and once we started getting into the rifle rounds, it wasn't from the start. So this is not the kind of map that we saw in the first. A 6-1 up for ENCE. They've got a really healthy streak behind them. Money is just flowing. And for Endpoint, it just seems that no one is really putting up the numbers.
Yeah, Endpoint need to find a way to turn this around. This is not going to be the round where they can do that. However, they've got Deagles and a 5-7. Of course, they have taken a couple of half-buy rounds and ecos in their back pocket in the past, but... Oh, Mezzi needs to get something more than just that first kill. Dotto found. AK will just about be able to escape here. Trying to stick around, though. Get it back into the hands of a high HP player.
And that was cheeky, and that makes a lot of sense. Give it over to somebody else. Go quickly in towards that ramp position. And for ENCE, they'll know that they did damage onto Mezzi, but they'll also know pretty quickly that AK is gone.
Picked up and passed off to Crucial. 100 HP without the helmet on the Kevlar. As the basic Kevlar, at least, there's that. Gonna try to get creep closer and closer. Can you see Snappy? Mezzi, oh, the wall bang. The headshot on Spink, that's a 2-for-1 now. Snappy gets 2 trades back on towards it. Mighty Max trying to creep closer to smoke. Here in the reload, Thomas gets a frag on Snappy. 3 versus 2, Endpoint doing damage here. Need to win the round. They want to make it impactful. There's plenty of money for ENCE to rebuy back into this round. And switch out to the AK. Hades leans forward and gets the bomb plant.
Mighty Max is pressing. D is there to try and back up his teammate. It comes down to the 2 poles.
It is. Here's Surreal to die. Gets the kill in against Mighty Max. All left to Thomas. 7 points of health. Trying to pick apart one, but it's not going to happen. ENCE with that 7th. And again, plenty of money then to rebuy back here. Endpoint damage is only going to be so effective. But at least they look a little bit better than their previous rounds. They held a lot of great moments in that and a pretty close round of its own right. So with the rifles back out, can they follow that up?
That's a little bit more competitive for sure. ENCE, probably one of the first times I've actually seen the 2 Polish players in like a 2vx situation. They've normally been on other sides of the map or have never been in the circumstance together, but that was very well played. Endpoint now trying to see if they can put some early nades down out towards both mid and from the B stairs. Dia gets tagged up a little bit. Maybe try to see if they can get a boost up, but for Endpoint, no one's ever really fought aggressively out of B.
No, they've been pretty passive. I mean, you can see that right now for Surreal. He's the only player on this site, a player also at Scaff to watch from mid and play double duty in case he has to swing back and support the likes of Surreal. Gonna wait and bait. Position's being taken, the incendiaries down. Hades and Spinks will lean up the AWP. Slow walking. Up against Thomas. Orb scoped up, they heard that, they know he's there.
Yeah, the cities can't peek this. Now they've heard the scope, now they've got the information. Oh, the nades out of B deal with the anchor though.
Now Thomas has got to fall away from Scaff entirely, focus on this B commitment, which is going to come through here from ENCE. Bombs on its way back via the stairs. We'll go ahead and join the likes of Deer and Snappy. And Spinks presses forward as Scaff past that smoke. Mezzi let him cross, and Spinks gets a double up for it, dealing with the support. Mighty Max can only hold on for so much, overwhelmed by ENCE's firepower, and we're right back to square one for Endpoint.
Yeah, I'm looking at this position, and there's just so many holes in the defense. And you can't allow that on a map like Vertigo. The way that Spinks just sort of sneaks in out from mid, they even deal with the exit kill of Crucial. This is just so one-sided and so dominant.
Starting to get a little bit ridiculous for me. ENCE up big time. It's not like they're doing anything really special. They're just playing really solid CS, and Endpoint are just not contesting at all. Like, at all.
Playing like England at the Euros.
Oh, shut up. I can't believe you've done that. Cannot believe you've done that. That Scotland draw was a tragedy, by the way. Like, I am so angry.
Now I've just, wasted 90 minutes watching that one.
Well, hopefully you won't waste 45 trying to see Endpoint contest against ENCE. The Eagles back out for this round, though. This one will be a bit of a waste because there's nothing they can do. I mean, they did take some close affairs, but again, the only round Endpoint have won has just been the pistol.
Yeah, that's it. And it's got to be at least a little bit more back and forth rather than just continuing this streak. At least they've got some early tag shots onto Dotto out from ramp, but they've got to be able to connect that into a kill.
Minute 2 of the clock. Slow walk up, steer. Look around, Mighty Max the Deagle in hand. Face in, doesn't see anything, just behind that smoke. So far back passive. Mezzy will try and face up here. Flash in, sees one headshot. That's nice done against Spinks. Can't get Snappy though. 2 kills for him. Trade back on him and Mighty Max.
Yeah, just when they open up with a Deagle shot, it's just the instant barrage of T's just spamming through, allowing that double kill to come in from Snappy. The T's are tagged up, so there is that positive notion.
Surreal will try capitalize on that tag damage, but Crucial falls next up, and Surreal peeks right into Dia's spray, leaving it all on Thomas again to clutch this. Every time he's asking himself, what do you want me to do? What can I do? Nothing. Snappy just swings hard, gets a headshot. 4 HP with a 3K overall, 9-1 for ENCE. Endpoint. No tactical? I would have thought this would be a perfect time for another tactical pause here.
I wonder what the P90 is going to do. Something aggressive, something up close to a smoke, but there's no playmaker. B stairs isn't being taken, no aggressive duels out from mid. Even out at ramp, when they do aggress it, they don't really find a lot of success. It just seems like they're so flat on the city side.
Well, Surreal will find one good play here towards D. Talk about seeing a playmaker, and finally aggression will come through to the B stairs. Fragged onto Dia. Dotto responds out to the A side though, so it immediately negates the play that Surreal just made, and Snappy knows where he is. Finds the 2-for-1 trade.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful burst coming through that smoke, and as soon as you hear the tag bullets, you're like, yep, know exactly where he is. I can follow up with the spam. Dotto even got the kill onto Mighty Max out from the sandbags. They can bring that bomb back over to B, and for a moment, B is open.
Yeah, Orp watching back here. And start leaning in. Flash and HE smoke down. Crucial. Flash blinded and caught for dead. Snappy. Kill easy, and the bomb plant should be secure. There should be nothing left for Endpoint. They've got to hold on to these 2 weapons.
You wonder why Vertigo wasn't introduced into the map pool for ENCE earlier. Like a map that they insta-banned, never really played it. Seemed like Hades has come into the lineup. They know the Train's on the way out. Got to remember too, for ENCE, like they picked Train. That was their highest picked map in the pool. So when that got away, they thought, okay, let's revamp the veto a little bit. Let's try and get Vertigo more involved. They're 5-0 on it. They've had some really decent results, but it just seems like everything is just flowing so correctly.
And their hand was kind of forced with the introduction of Ancient. Didn't want to pick into that map in this one. I mean, they floated it in the veto, but just having this Vertigo out, like, man, they have found some really, really good bases to work from. And, you know, a lot of the results we've seen from ENCE on this map have been pretty one-sided, like just 16-8, 16-7, 16-4. They've been cooking something up really special today and just dishing it out to Endpoint, making them just suffer, absolutely suffer here on CT. 10-1, ENCE in full control.
Waiting for a little bit of aggression to come out from mid. Will be the early HE to start, but even with that, not really a lot of damage being found. Spinks is actually just waiting for the over-aggression to come out, even with the 2 players out from mid.
And Thomas and Mezzy with the rifles. Now just Thomas as Mezzy's found the first frag of Dotto. We'll cover that M4 back on Crucial's part, but now going to reposition the full back passive. Surreal's the Eagle. Start peeking in towards the B site. Can't land on Dia. And he does on Thomas. That is just so quick. So easy. 2v5. 1v5. Crucial can't find that exit, but it's just... He's got to save again. Like, what choice does he have?
It doesn't have many, and even when he does save, Dotto is already out on the site itself. Is orange being checked? Oh, even the turnaround comes through for Dotto. No save can come through for the M4. Oh, boy. This is a rough map for Endpoint. They are just getting slammed. And you're right, where is the tack?
Have they just checked out already of this map? Like, I know it's not your pick, guys, but you got to remember, Endpoint were the team that pioneered Vertigo at the very start. When it was introduced into the map pool, like, what, 2 years ago now? Like, it was them, Sprout, and I think it was HO as well. And Endpoint were the team that led the charge mostly because they were the front runner of those particular squads, and they beat tier 1 teams on it. That team is no longer a thing anymore. And that's very clearly showing. ENCE just walking all over these boys. Double up stuff coming in from Crucial and Surreal, but they need to find something bigger.
And try and see if they can bait the CTs forward. 3 T-side players out towards the B stairs. They're committing to the opening fight. Hades trying to back him up. AWP chiming in. Surreal missing the shot and the second.
Nade will do damage to Hades. It's not enough to get the kill, though. Swing back as Hades escapes. Incendiary will throw that boost up from Snappy and Dia. Dia burning at 17 points of health. And Hades to 36. Base around holding position. AK Spinks waiting for Crucial to overextend here. If he gets this kill, just more horrors for Endpoint. Dotto will catch Mezzi. D is going to catch Surreal. And 2v5 now, Endpoint in dire straits again.
Yeah, bomb committing out to ramp. At least it is sort of moving into the CT forces. Mighty Max being able to get a couple of kills. They should just bring that bomb back over to B, but they've got to recover it now.
He dropped the bomb carrier. Snappy finds a kill past Crucial. Mighty Max going to reposition. M4 in hand. Can't get the kill on Snappy. Switching out to the AWP. That was a bad call. Man, all sorts of decision-making being just majorly worrying here for the Endpoint side. 12-1.
I just got to say something quickly, Jay. At the beginning of last round, they threw the bomb, and it actually, you know, like the water bottle flip where it like lands? I've never seen that before, but the bomb actually landed upright when they chucked it on the ground in T-spawn. That's how well everything is going for them.
It's like that water bottle meme, you know, when you like toss it up and you like spin it once.
That's exactly
it.
it. Yeah, it was exactly that. I've never seen it before with the bomb.
Except it's every time you do that, if you're ENCE, someone from Endpoint dies. That's what we're seeing right now. That's how good things are going for ENCE. Like, truly, this match is just... I honestly think it's already over. Like, I know we're like 2 rounds away from the end of the first half, but just Endpoint really have bottled it. And when they look so confident in the pistol as well, like I thought they were going to carry that overpass momentum. Clearly not.
Now, Crucial just hoping that this kind of gets overchecked. Bit of a flash to come out. Deagle does get away with one, but no more than that. It's just how quickly these trade kills come in and how sloppy Endpoint are at the times that we saw only in a couple of rounds ago. How Surreal missed a couple of simple shots with the AWP. And I don't want to start pointing fingers, but in terms of the sharpness, there's just no comparables. Oh, here it is. I told you, I've never seen that before.
That's great. That's fantastic. Well, finally something going right for Surreal as he finds D as the opening kill, and Mighty Max finds Dotso. 2 frags found. Hades turns it around to a single-man advantage for Endpoint. Surreal being on 19 HP and detectable by Snappy. He might check this banger position, or just Surreal can give up the gangle. That's also fine. 3 versus 3. One more CT back at Thomas. Molotov coming in for Snappy to try force him back out of position. The flash is going over, and the CT player just should be isolated and surely overwhelmed with the one tap on Snappy. No mercy shown, nothing given up.
This is class. Absolute class. This is, you know, pushing the boundaries out on T side of Vertigo. More utility coming in. This is just going to slow down the retake.
Yeah, Endpoint have to commit to it as well. They can't save again. There's no more rounds after this. AWP shot Crucial, catches the frag. Counter flash perfectly placed to blind off at least the AWPer. Mezzi Smoke up, flash going over again will blind him. Good shot on Crucial. Spinks now last man. Nade on the bomb. Will try and deny it. Mezzi's on 42. Crucial. Overwhelmed. Spray back. Still lands it. And Spinks makes it 14 in a row. ENCE. Just absolutely dominant. Where do we go from here? Endpoint, where do we go from here?
Easy for ENCE is really what it is. This is a slaughter. Oh, look at the odds. 15-1.
Oh my God.
Put everything on ENCE right now. The house, everything. 1.02. They're not going to lose this one. I'm honestly disappointed they lost pistol. Otherwise, the 16-0 dream would really be on. I mean, 15. Oh, it was right there. 14 rounds in a row. They can still make it 15.
Nades on the Endpoint already taking damage here in the pistol. Flashes over, Snappy, shots in, Dia connects that first shot, around the outside, past that pillar position, Snappy and Spinks getting a couple more picks back as Dia is going to get overwhelmed. 4 versus 2 situation, Glock damage, getting a kill back in on Spinks at the very least here, but the bomb needs to get picked up and planted, and they have the advantage. Snappy has the peaks, lightning fast, accurate as anything, triple up for him, map point for ENCE.
15-1. And just the performance for the international squad has got to be at another level. You have a look on Vertigo. You are facing a top 30 side in the world on a decent map of them, and they are bodying them. Oh, this is not even close to competitive.
Wow. Endpoint. I mean, there's going to have to be some serious discussions within their camp. I can imagine some stern words being shared by Rossar and Mighty Max and everybody else in that roster. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Dotso does get dinked back to a 3 versus 3. Mighty Max makes it 2. Smoke back towards the main cross. The bomb should get secured this time, but ENCE with the way that they've been playing, I wouldn't be surprised that they made this work. Indeed, Dia comes a kill. Spinks follows up. Mezzi, 2 points of health to clutch it. It's just not going to happen. 16-1. ENCE have destroyed Endpoint on Vertigo, ripping everything apart.
And that might be the most one-sided map we have seen this entire tournament. 16-1, 16 rounds in a row. An embarrassment coming through from Endpoint and a beauty to come out from ENCE.
Dominant, absolutely dominant from them. And again, going into our third map, there's going to be some serious words of exchange coming in, going into Dust 2. Endpoint needs to turn it around after the break.
From the outside, who would know what lies beneath? Unleash it with a machine as savage as you are. Lenovo Legion. Stylish outside, savage inside.
This is how legends are made.
Well, everything just went right for ENCE. Everything went oh so wrong for Endpoint, winning the pistol of Vertigo and nothing else. 16-1. Now we move on to Dust 2. And honestly, Dwayne, as much of a fanboy as I am of Endpoint, I'm so disappointed with how that map ended up that I honestly have no more faith for them coming into Dust 2 now.
And that was embarrassing. It is really what it is. And you can be harsh to a team like Endpoint because they're not 100th ranked in the world. They're not a team that is slowly on the rise. This is a capable unit that plays towards the top end, and then they get 16-1. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it was just dire, really dire from those guys, and I'm so confused as to why it ended up being that way, because I looked at the whole map and I looked towards Vertigo, and again I take a look at the history that Endpoint have had on Vertigo, and I think to myself that there's still something there. You know, they're not completely incompetent on it, but that's exactly what they looked like during that second map. So going into Dust 2, I think about the history that ENCE have had, and yes, it's not a map that they're trying to introduce into the pool, but I look at the results that they've had against some pretty staunch teams, and I think that Endpoint have just lost out to some squads that they really shouldn't do in the past. Yes, there was that 16-0 for ENCE against Harvu, which was a bit of a confusing element, but I also looked at that and I think that's more of a red herring than an actual consistent basis to weigh ENCE up here.
Yeah, I would say the same, but then I almost look at the last map and I think, well, hang on a minute, is that going to be the red herring for Endpoint? Is that just going to be the blowout map and now we go into Dust 2? It is going to get competitive. It is going to get a little bit more closer, but I don't know how much of that I actually believe.
That's the thing, right? Like it's such a weird situation to be at, because you can weigh up the map pool all you want, but you look towards the you look towards that map and you just think to yourself, like, Endpoint must be down in the dumps. Like, really, from a mentality perspective, knowing you got absolutely decimated on that map pick, and they felt like they were checked out so early into it. Like, as soon as they were down like 7 or 8 to 1, they stopped taking tacticals. They stopped really playing, really like with the intention of like, right, we're going to try and win this map. It just felt like, just get it out of the way so we can get back to Dust 2. And I think that that might carry over in towards Dust 2, because I feel like Endpoint, like, they've got to have some serious conversations in that camp before they got into this map up.
You've got to wonder whether they could be on full tilt, whether they could actually go into this last map and really not have it with it. For ENCE, though, this is a perfect opportunity not only to continue improving your winning streak and continue to improve your road, but to be able to defeat a strong team like Endpoint in a one-sided fashion after losing the first map of the series and bouncing back from there.
Yeah, and I think that for ENCE also, it's going to be a great series, because remember, this is one of the 2-0 matches, the second of the 2-0 matches that we have in this round. So seeing them, of course, make their way into the playoffs in such a confident fashion reinstates some level of confidence in ENCE, when we felt like that there was maybe some potential fallbacks for this side, given the roster changes that they've had, given the results that they've had as well in other tournaments and in the previous Eliza Invitational as well, which was a standout moment for them. Now seeing them really resurge and start to rise back here, things are looking okay for them, and if they can make it through this last map here, then it would be a very good position to have into the playoffs. They are starting things off on the CT side. ENCE did win the knife round here for Dust 2, the final map of this best of 3. Endpoint need to put Vertigo behind them and concentrate real hard on making this T side as confident as possible. It's the pistol round between ENCE and Endpoint in our final map of the best of 3. Utility over on Dotto here for Endpoint have smokes, molotovs, flashes between Mighty Max and Crucial. No upgrade pistols, no raid bosses, but a lot of aggression from Dia instantly up into the mid control. Seeing Mezzy and Thomas. Thomas gets the frag back in against that man. Snappy trying to trade back, but Thomas can double up. Spinks can deal with Surreal in towards lower tunnels. 3 versus 3 immediately. ENCE found a lot of contention into the pistol round.
Oh, they just keep fighting. The timing from Dotto does work out quite well to get the info up for the short position, but he gets hunted as he tries to fall back to A.
The man advantage for Endpoint here, going into the actual execution, going into the site plant, and probably the post plant as well. ENCE leaning up, Spinks, seeing Mighty Max gets this shot in, and Hades, the USP, all left up, finds the kill on Crucial. 1 pick found, 2nd pick not going to be as easy. Smoke down across, flicks back 1-8. You got to focus on both T-side players from opposite ends. Just couldn't do so. Endpoint, too much pressure. They gain the pistol round and start things off well.
And that was probably one of the first times we've seen a proper Thomas round. Something really, really impressive. And, well, those odds look pretty impressive over for ENCE. 1.53 over to the international squad. It seems like no matter what the map, no matter what the circumstance, they're always being favored.
I definitely wouldn't put those odds if I was running the odds at Corvette, though. Like, given how poorly that last map went. Maybe a bit more one-sided for me, personally. But Endpoint have got to start, so... There's always that. Pistol gains start off. Scouts involved for Snappy, Hades, and for Crucial as well. The default's making their way straight up towards mid-control here for the Endpoint side.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of these force buys be successful out the first map, so you wonder if that's going to translate here on Dust 2. The Scouts just trying to tag up through the mid doors, but it's really Hades the only one that receives anything.
Yeah, ENCE leaning forward to the Eagles. Endpoint's on a wrap towards this long control. There's no one to take control of this part of the map here for ENCE. Scout is ready to receive it though. Snappy, if he can get a good headshot in, that would be the start that they want to. Late lurk from Mezzy could come in later on in the round. The shots that land to Surreal, not quite drawing first blood here for the CT side.
There's so many fights being taken down towards that long position, and for the CTs, they are getting tagged up. But Dotto, look at this info play.
Uh-oh, Mighty Max is going to concede the bomb. Oh, the flick to Surreal as well. The damage done in association with Snappy. They get a little picked up to a triple. Oh, dear. Oh, dear, Endpoint. One man has forged a plan. And Crucial. It's just another brick wall that Endpoint have to hit here on Dust 2. Quadra not found by Dotto. Crucial's bailed out one angle, but Mezzy's got to follow suit with a lot more here towards the B side, and the bomb is still in CT control.
As another backstab out for the CT side, and this is the round done. Mezzy just got to try and save onto the Glil, take a fight out to CT. Dotto gets in behind them. The second shot was ridiculous. How quick that came out. Oh,
Jesus.
Tasty stuff.
It was. It really was. And for Endpoint, it's just another round to knock your confidence back and to really harm your mentality. Again, given what we saw from Vertigo, they cannot afford any major setbacks here, because it would be enough to just call GG. Endpoint spreading out with the Deagles and the Tech-9s on the force bite. Scout in for Crucial. Against responding to the Scout Snappy, who didn't quite get kills in that last round, but definitely had his impact. And Dia with a FAMAS looking to face forward here against 3 of the hungry T-side players.
Just trying to see if we can get all those sound cues. Play anti-flash in case the util comes in. ENCE, though, not really allowing too many of these sort of over peaks or these wide swings to come out. They're quite defensive on this matter.
Surreal leaning up, Mighty Max caught off with some damage initially. Shots ringing out from Mezzy and Crucial past this smoke nade onto their position. Sprays through with Spinks. Doesn't get any kills. So it's Thomas actually that starts things off to the mid control.
Just the pick that they can isolate out from mid, try and see if they can split their way into B. You have to deal with 2 anchors on the side.
Mars in hand at 1, Spinks and Hades able to take those players right back out as the Scout sees 2 players. Tags up, Crucial gets a 1 headshot in, and a tag onto Spinks as well. M4 does line up in the end as Surreal gets a tray back towards mid, 2 versus 2. Hades got to come in and support it. Surreal coming out towards B, doors caught by Spinks regardless. Triple kill for him. Now looking for the quadra against Crucial. Perfect flash timing, wonderfully done there by ENCE.
Just a good sequence out from Spinks, who has just been so consistent over the course of both Map 1, Map 2, and now even going into Map 3, the only defender out on B once he loses a teammate. 4K overall, just playing towards the back end of the side. And for Endpoint, they can't follow up with the Force Pipe. They'll have to eco going into round 4.
Yet another eco for them. Endpoint PT50s being the basis of their entire buy-up. Just a couple of upgrade pistols that they can use. Nades, incendiaries, and initially Messi's already been tagged up there. Was that by the team damage, or was that something to do with the with some aggression, like from the scout or something? I don't know. Either way, Dotto and Nades have the crossfire, and they're just not going to let anyone cross back. Mighty Max being wrapped in a pond by Snappy. Should close this out. Indeed, he does.
It took a little while, but gets there in the end. And getting that P250 up from the T side, but the AK's coming forward. You've got to wonder whether Thomas can kind of replicate anything moving forward into the opening rifle round like he did on the pistol. He got a 4K in that one.
One frag since that point. AK's back in for him and the rest of the boys of Endpoint. We've got a Galil and Vimezi. Might be a limiting factor here for the Endpoint camp. 2 players in Suicide with no orbs to support them means that it's going to be a bit difficult for them to break out of here. Smokes have gone down towards the B door, the mid doors, however, so at least that suppresses them. Then you're going to counteract it with a counter smoke of his own right, but the T's might be aware of him rotating back to the B side. They're not going to act too quickly here.
Yeah, fair bit of counter utility coming down to just stop that rush out from mid, stop that early push down in towards the deep map control. The T's are making a bit of a move up from short, though.
Hades looking up. Can't seem to see anything. Nappy starts walking forward. SMG sees Messi, takes the frag easy. M4 flashed into the lineup. He gets a triple as well. Someone standing in the back, I believe that was crucial. It doesn't matter. He's one of 3 players to fall in one simple spray, and Thomas. This is not looking good already.
I swear I didn't even see a third player there, but apparently so. Dia, what a sequence out from mid, and just the flash. It could not be positioned and timed any more perfectly. Everyone for Endpoint trying to get through those mid doors can't see a thing.
I'm already feeling like there's another 16-1 on the table here for Endpoint. I'm hoping that's not the case, obviously, but just that was dire. Very, very dire. And Thomas knows it. 20 seconds. He can't clutch this. Just going to hold the AK. ENCE grabbing 3 of them. A Galil as well for Snappy. So much firepower going into round 6. And Endpoint, they've just got no choice but to concede this one.
I think Crucial was behind Xbox when the 2 players sort of lined up, and the AK is just being recovered. It's got to be everything that really excites the players out from ENCE. 4-1, 4 in a row, and it looks confident. It looks very, very momentum-based. Not a single bomb plant has come through in any of the rounds that ENCE have won.
That's the key thing, right? Again, it comes down to the kind of rounds that we're winning. Yes, they are going the way of ENCE, but if Endpoint can at least get bomb plants, they can continue buying, they can continue doing damage.
Yep.
But no, that's not happening. No bomb plants, no extra buys, no force invests, no nada.
Yeah, they have the AK. So that's something, right, going into round 6. But even when you're in a position where Thomas saves the last round, you've got to make him do something with it.
Or have the Deagles go pop off and get headshots, which, again, you can't bank on. You're mostly looking towards that AK. The player with Kevlar and Surreal especially, he's playing very far forward. If Thomas goes down, he's the next up to take the gun and put it to effect. It's Mighty Max taking contact out towards short controls. The T's do lean in for that. Bit of a mini split, and Mighty Max does dome Hades, which might draw some attention away from that longhouse. Snappy flashing his way forward. Mighty Max will continue facing, however. The bomb can go down from here, and they do catch Crucial on his late lurk.
Snappy just being able to get that assistance, and they do allow the bomb to go down, but they've got the man advantage. Mighty Max with a 2nd kill, though.
It's doing all right, 3v3. Surreal's Deagle looking to try him in as well. Doesn't see Dia, unfortunately. He's a little bit too far away. Mighty Max takes that face. The AK loses out the fight. Snappy follows suit on Thomas. It's all left to Surreal to clutch this down. 1 versus 3 situation. Finds 1 pick. That's as far as it goes. Trade is good. And there will be a 5th for ENCE.
And you've almost got to wonder to yourself, is it a bad sign that Mighty Max is doing all of the fragging? 33 kills across both map 1 and map 2. While it's great, I always think it's great to see your in-game leader finding impact, finding those important rounds. When he's your leading fragger, that's a worrying sign.
It depends, really, because like there are some famous moments where in-game leaders have a great support network around them, so they can be able to still be the star players as well as the leaders, and you know have a decent basis.
That's
I understand
true.
where you're coming from with that, but in the case of Endpoint, they don't have that right now because everybody else is still kind of underperforming, and they're still having that lackadaisical attitude that I saw from Vertigo. Surreal does find a kill on Snappy, at least he does open up the round this time.
A little bit more pace coming in towards that lower tunnels. Early nades out towards that mid position. Just going to make it a little bit more uncomfortable. Try and drive a little bit more of that CT utility forward. Nade goes out. Surreal pretty much evades it. Not quite the second one, though.
Dia taking damage next up. Surreal bursting through those doorways. I catch something else out. Damage done to Surreal here. He's a known entity, of course, with the short control for the rest of Endpoint. And a 38 HP, though. That's going to be the big concern, I think, for the Endpoint side. They are going to smoke their way up, and Hades, his AWP is watching long, turn his way towards short. Find some cover as well towards that long presence, because there is a late lurk coming in again. He's trying to prepare for it, but he's got no backup to hold off against the axe execution here. And yeah, he's forced back out of position. Scopes in. Thomas could get caught. If he gets caught, it might be a retake here.
Oh, they're not going for this. 3 on B, instant save call. Hades just try and play out from Blue Bin. Hope that you could deal with this lurk player from Thomas. He could kind of hold here for the rest of the round and then peek out really, really late. But for ENCE, they risked it out on B. Doesn't quite pan out. Just save.
Orpa could still get hunted, and if he extends towards Longhouse, especially, that'll be the case. Be the second to the board of Endpoint, however. That is definitely a much better certainty for them. Already going past the scoreline of Vertigo, so that's slight encouragement, even if that's a pretty low bar to surpass. Like I mentioned, save weapons coming in for ENCE. The rebuy can be afforded by the CT side.
They've got so much money that even forcing Snappy into a weapon, it's not going to make economical damage at all. They've still got a fair bit in the reserve. They're a 1900 loss bonus, so really, even if they lose round 8, they're still going to have enough to get a buy together into the follow-up. Endpoint not really having the best of long spawns this time around.
Will not challenge Long directly as a result of it. They'll just get towards Longhouse now, throwing some utility down and trying to force Snappy and Dotto to not go so aggressive with it. Eventually, the utility will come forward and they'll try and find an angle to work with, but Dotto behind the blue bins. Two T-side players are here into the corner. They're both going to get naded out, but they boost up regardless, find the kill onto the first. Snappy is also going to get traded back by Thomas as Mezzi is one to fall.
That boost up is perfect, and then as soon as they get that trade, it allows Surreal to just press super aggressive up to the short position. And with all of the attention being pulled away, he could be the sneak they don't know about.
Hades with a kill on Thomas. AK back as Surreal can respond towards Dia. 3 versus 2, 2 versus 2. Spinks' headshot can come back, but Hades on 3 points of health. Needs to land his first shot against the first T-side player close towards him. Mighty Max, scene spray. Finds himself a single K, and now Spinks rotating back with a kit in hand. No utility for him to work with on his retake, however. Does he really want to go for this? I think he does.
Have a bit of an attempt, at least. Try and see if he can bait out the AWP. Try and work with the player up on the side. But for Endpoint, no one's really facing.
Spinks found a flashbang. Slow walks. Not seeing Mighty Max pop his head up. Now he has. Gets the shot in on him, and the flashbang out towards Crucial. That shouldn't blind him off for too long. Might force him away from position. He pre-fires and almost gets it right, but a little bit too low. It means the headshot comes through for Crucial instead, and Endpoint can find their third.
No, they can still buy around this. Dia is able to get an AWP, chuck that over to Hades, get something in response. Endpoint, though, just working. They've had to really grind these T-side rounds out now, a couple in a row. And being able to get a somewhat decent buy forward, you've only got that one kit in play for Spinks, but now this is really where the economy can get damaged up.
Dia frag on Crucial found, easy as. Start off for ENCE. Mighty Max getting caught through that smoke as well. Tag to 24. Not quite dead yet for Endpoint, though. They've established their long presence, and ENCE are aware of it. Rotates back, start to fall away here for the CT side.
Yeah, ENCE are playing quite passive on A. They're allowing a lot of presence to be gained out from long, playing this pretty much retake heavy.
It's in the area. Mezzi tanks, tag, Dotto and Dia kills through the smokes, dropping the bomb, and ENCE re-established themselves again. Smoke as well to suppress. Thomas trying to look for a pick on Snappy, but he just cannot seem to get it together. Only player tagged to 46. ENCE have 5 alive. More AKs recovered here for the CT side.
And it just seemed as well that maybe the roster change for ENCE just makes things fresh, doesn't it? I know that obviously they brought some of the other players in only sort of early in this year, but just having that one change, that one positive entity has just really put a bright spark in a lot of these individuals, and you can just see it in rounds like that. So many kills being won out successfully, out from the long challenge. Already the CT's looking to fight.
Nades on, they do minimal damage to Endpoint. They dish out some more towards Dia, so a slightly better start for Endpoint this time around. Not losing any of the picks at the moment. Still walking around that long face. Molotov's in, Mighty Max leaning up with the AK. Dia, M4 trying to dive back down in towards the CT spawn. He knows that he's low, so he can't be out in the open.
Just another one of these long takes to the T side. Snappy just trying to see if it can hold for the longest as possible out from the elbow position. There's a late lurk in lowers too for Surreal.
What's he going to get out of this, though? He's not going to try and backstab into the A side defensive. Thomas's Mac 10 starts leaning up, flash forward into the site itself, checking out Goose, but no one is on A or at Goose or anywhere close towards it. The closest player is Spinks. The 2 players over towards Short and Gandalf could be a bit of a problem for them. They smoke off and plant towards default, that it shouldn't be a problem.
Spinks being dealt with by the AWPer. Snappy with a little bit more of a wider angle. The bomb's still not yet being planted. They get another kill. That opens up the site now.
No info on Snappy as he started peeking out in the open. Mezzi just blind sprayed, got his headshot. And ENCE, considering the rotation away to save their weapons here. Surreal's going to try and cut off rotations of his own, try and get some exit frags. Find Dia with a spray back, turn around 182. The short control, Dotto is there. His late lurk seems to come up for the exits and it's perfectly done here. Endpoint almost finding Hades as well. 1v5 for him to stay alive with. Might hold position. That flick on Mezzi is actually pretty good, but it only is a leg shot, so the Glock can finish the job and take the round back for Endpoint. Okay, so the start was looking very dicey, but now it's starting to look like maybe there's a chance for Endpoint here on T.
But there's no real buy presenting itself for ENCE, so this is going to have to be a half buy. Get some pistols in here or there. You've got 1900 of loss bonus to work with. And this could actually start becoming quite the competitive map. The only thing that I could see is it being very streak heavy, so we could see both teams at times maybe being able to really stretch those leads and get into some very comfortable positions. Nade stack out towards a long position does a lot of opening damage up for Crucial, but not enough to get the kill.
Yeah, Snappy jump facing with a P250, looking to wrap in against Surreal's position. He's going to get spotted by that AK. See all sorts of bullets flying past him, and finally the flashbang will come through, but Surreal still lands the kill. Crucial, oh, frag on the next player, and the pistols will get ripped apart by the rifles, it seems. The Eagle's up here, he's trying to hold back something for Spinks. Hold on! Bomb dropped, 2v2, 2 AKs gained. Don't do this again, Endpoint.
The Spinks is just charging forward. He makes it a 4K. Crucial does not expect the fight to come to him this aggressively. And now Surreal's got to try and clutch.
Oh, the pain. The pain. Surreal. Upset. Spinks has got an ace with a deagle in hand. Oh, guys. That is just tilting. That is going to break you in half. Endpoint had no right losing that. And I think they realized that too.
Just even the awareness to try and be the idiot. Try and be the one that you never expect. He gets 3 kills with the deagle. You never expect to aggress then. He's so low. And then he peeks forward out to the T-spawn. Crucial's not ready for him. And Endpoint have had enough. They charge out to long, but they charge straight into Dia.
Finds a responsive frag. Thomas's opening kill. Mezzi traded back in turn. And ENCE can play out the default as Endpoint are forced to rotate completely away from long. Start playing into the mid doors. He is ready to receive it. Mighty Max can find that responsive trade. So man, take it down. Spink still on that B site though, so fear the AUG because he's seen what he can do with a pistol.
Max can get traded out from mid. This could be a very important kill from Snappy, but the attention's just been pulled away. The AUG only gets away with one, and B site's open.
Well, Hades gets his kill in. What can he do with it? Grab the AK. Is he going to go for the retake here? He may well do so. He knows that orb's been dropped in mid, so he's got a turnaround opportunity if necessary. Look up against the real AK. Got to check the right place at the right time. He cannot do it. An Endpoint can recover this. Can recover this indeed. And shouldn't be able to go for a full buyback here. Again, the economy is a little bit shaky for the CT side. But Endpoint, man, these rounds still getting a little bit too close.
Yeah, they are. They're down to the wire, and they do respond. They get ecoed, they win the follow-up. We are going back and forth a little bit for the last sort of 5 rounds, and it is breaking bank with the CT economy. The force buy has to come through from ENCE. They want to try and challenge out from long again. Surreal just coming out with flashes. The pit player just can't even get into there before the fights are being taken. Very, very easy fight being won.
Yeah, Dotto blinders are back. Couldn't really do much there. Boost up for Surreal's going to look against the AWP. Almost win the fight against Hades as well. Doesn't do so, though. He's just tagged up to 74 and forced back into short. Ready to receive any more T-side presence from the mid control. Smokes down to the cross, though. Endpoint are crossing from long. They should get a bomb down here.
Yeah, AWP just trying to see if they can work as a bit of a bait with that pistol in from CT. Endpoint putting a lot of util in and around this site.
In front of the frags on the CT players for it. Full spy, of course, for ENCE does the orb in for Hades. Very wild on his crosshair placement, and the adjustment was just not there. No casualties sustained here by Endpoint, and I think that probably is best for the M4 and the AWP to stay. Maybe D can stick around with the Deagle, but exit frags the best. I don't think they'll find a definitive round here.
It's the smart call. You don't want to really throw away a 3v5 force. You're not going to win it. So just hold on. Even looking for extra kills, it's not worth it. What are you going to get out? A little bit more economical damage for Endpoint when we're going into round 14. Just hold on to what you have. And for Endpoint, while we haven't seen them in the lead, they are really starting to bring this back.
Yeah, 6th to the board of the T-side line. Starting to try and equalize against the likes of ENCE. Despite some serious moments we've seen from the CT forces. Probably not going to be a force up here around this one. I'm seeing SMG passed off, actually, so maybe there might still be one here for round 14. I thought they would save for the 15th.
Maybe just knowing that you've got 3 weapons in tow, it's... you can work with what you have. You've still got the M4, you've still got the AWP. You're not going to be able to invest that into the next round, so force it up and just hope that you can convert.
Orp out for Crucial. Down towards that mid-doors area. Can't see anything aggressive from ENCE. They are currently just sat pretty passive and on that long control and short position. D is going to start pressing forward towards the cubby corner, but not extend out of the doorway just yet, and I don't think he wants to do so at all.
Yeah, they're trying to bait. They're trying to force the CTs to press forward, and as soon as they do, you're just going to get mopped up by the AKs. D and just trying to get forced back with that utility. ENCE just desperate for a pick, desperate for a little bit of a chance, and at least that's something on Mighty Max.
Flash to force him away as Surreal starts rotating around with the AK in hand. He caught the headshot, nicely done, but Hades finds a response with the AWP at CT. He'll turn around towards that man, but smoked off, can't look above it. May be able to support them if they start making their way into the B site, but that's going to leave Spinks all alone to defend.
The Endpoint have got a lot of map territory with Surreal this far out from mid, still that player out from Longhouse. They're going to push in towards CT and straight into Hades.
Another good frag found by the AWPer, and now the M4 Spinks up the challenge as they're going to make their way in to the B side. Peek it up, seeing them both only gets the one frag. Damage to the second man. Hades going to get caught out towards the mid torso. Now they know where he is. They also know exactly where the T-side players are playing from. Mezzy gets his tags off, but doesn't get the kill. Molotovs towards window, might force the back. Are there any smokes involved? No, they're crossing dry, but Snappy still falls back. Hades cannot hit his shots. It's Dotto alone, and Mezzy finds a triple to find 7 for Endpoint.
A couple of mistakes being made there from the ENCE side, just with some missed shots, and Endpoint just capitalized on that. The swings out from the upper tunnels, had to trade out the player from the back of Platter Spinks, and eventually just get over to the side. Don't even have to think about getting the bomb plan. And for ENCE, I even want to say this round and the last couple, they really haven't had good buys together.
They're forcing the issue time and time again. Again, it's the reason why I thought they'd save around the AWP. Play a bit more of an eco to go into round 15 with a definitive rifle investment, but only the M4 for Hades, SMG for Spinks, Deagle's out for the rest of ENCE. A far cry compared to the AKs and AWP that Endpoint have. And Snappy will still find the first pick. Out towards long, Thomas has fallen.
Now work with the information. Try and see if he can gather a little bit more of an aggressive play. Hades boosted up out for mid. That's a 5-on-3 now.
Not another one, Endpoint. Please, not another pistol round. It's a force buy, sure, but the Eagles found one. M4's found another. Dotto is going to get traded, but look at how far D is going to play forward. Mighty Max could drop the bomb right here. All a case of timing with the Eagle. Flashbang catches him blind, but Dia sees nothing. He thinks it's clear.
Mighty Max has got the information of at least Dia, but how does he try and work with this? Snappy now starting to move forward with the AK. Mighty Max does get quicker to the trigger. Aggression getting punished out from the upper tunnels. Dia trying to see if he can spot anything out from mid. Hades gets a pick now. The trade comes back.
I know where he is, and then again goes towards the A-bomb site, baiting out the AWP player, but he doesn't bait in the pistol. The Crucial could switch to very quickly, get the headshot, and get the round and the half for Endpoint. A recovery of that T side, because it was starting to look very dicey when ENCE had their 5-1 lead, but after that, Endpoint brought it back together. And now things could start looking decent for them, but it is their CT side up next, and we know what Dust 2 is like on CT.
It still looks rough, though, from Endpoint in the outset, still not being the favorites up by Coolbet. And it is surprising, knowing sort of the recovery that was there at the back end of the first half and the way they've actually been able to take a little bit of a lead forwards. A difficult one to call, really, about who's going to be able to take control of this map up. Because at times, Endpoint have looked really sloppy, you know, losing that ace up to Spinks. But then there's also the counterpart that also in some of the rifle rounds, they've actually shown some very good prowess. So I'm on the fence a little bit.
I mean, look, I look at this and I think to myself that you take a look at the past map and you see how sloppy Endpoint can really be, and you have seen little glimpses of that over Dust 2. Like you mentioned that Spinks clutches, or that Spinks ace as being the main sort of like a one. But there have been little moments here and there where they've lost the pistols or they've lost the openings. Various mistakes being made by Endpoint, and again, that could still cost them big time. Especially going into the CT side. We saw some major gaps over on Vertigo. Will we see them repeated here for Dust 2?
Good question. And for ENCE, knowing that they are slightly on the back foot from the start that they did have on this map, is maybe try to fuel them up, get them pumped up to try and come out with a bit of a bang on T side. And we know both of these teams, very, very heavy winning streaks coming into this best of 3. And I'm glad we are really going to a third map, honestly, and that it is this close at the half.
Yeah, this is an affair I wasn't expecting to go down to this close, given how one-sided and decimating it was over on Vertigo. So credit to him. Endpoint could have looked much worse than this. So one final opportunity here for them to be able to get that 3-0 and defeat ENCE in what would be a huge, huge series for this side. 8-7. CT half for Endpoint coming up. Double flash and smoke for Mighty Max. No defuse kit for the Endpoint side. Again, P250s on Snappy and Spinks, who brought down the utility. Already using a little bit into the early part of this round. Just waiting for contact to come to them here. Endpoint are not going to regress.
A bit of a sneak, though, coming up for Hades, just working with that Xbox smoke, looking to make his way up towards short. Flash over the top just in case anyone was peeking aggressively from Endpoint, but really it's just this crossfire approach out from long that they're trying to set up.
Crucial expecting a duck down position. Surreal's gonna have to get forced back into the pit control. Flashbang in from his teammate will allow a peek in. A secondary flashbang coming in for the T-side forces. As Surreal draws first blood of the half. Taps onto a second shot, can't quite make it 3. And the 3 versus 2 instead for the Endpoint side. Maintain the advantage and back away from long.
You've got to wonder that if they do want to keep committing to the A side, do they just go for a deep CT smoke rather than just the cross? Because they've only got one smoke, and for Endpoint, they've already gathered the early info of what sort of the play is.
Oh, they ripped it apart as well. No Kevlar for these two individuals here. Do they think that they're both raid bosses? I mean, that might not make a difference. They might have to take the fights regardless. One player on site, 2 players at cross gap in that smoke, which could have been used by either side. Spinks did look through it. Get that bomb to go down here. It's got to go down to default, else Mighty Max could deny it. Snappy's being a little bit long with his rotations. Mezzy caught off, tapped up. Oh, the shot from Spinks on Mighty Max is good. Snappy follows suit on Thomas, and now Mezzy's alone. Endpoint can still concede this one. Snappy's head being seen. Mezzy gonna go for the jump shot, didn't land it on the head, and reveals his position. Got to swing back, tap both the heads, both T-side players facing him at the same time, and they'll combine to get Spinks a 3K and ENCE a recovery in the pistol rounds.
P250 gods there to come out on the A side. What a couple of great taps after the CTs do so much work, especially Surreal in that pit position. 2 picks with the USP to start off, but eventually the 2 versus 3, they don't even really need to work it. And it's almost like the fight just come to them. They don't need to start faking out the bomb plan. They don't need to wait for the post plant to come in at all. Instead, Endpoint taking fights before even any of that happens.
What timing for Snappy there on that face there. The 2 nades just sailing right past him. He could have taken so much damage. Him and D remain unscathed as Endpoint take the damage to the mid control. Crucial tagged up by the scout face of Hades. 11 HP for him. And Endpoint trying to force the issue back with these pistols, hoping they can get something out here soon.
Just clearing out all the positions out from long. Make sure that no one's sneaking in that pit position. A little bit of noise being heard out from mid. Dotto's recalling all of this info out. Knows that there's the first player. Deals with him. Even spots out Surreal.
Surreal was jump facing, looked for information in the mid control. Missed out this player entirely, and that could be his demise. Thomas does find one responsive. But now A-side's cleared up. Smokes on the cross. They're crossing from long, getting to the bomb down.
Just save. Don't even go for this. There's no way you're going to win this 4v4. They're already tagged up.
Yeah, just best to hold on to what they can, even if it's not much. 9 for ENCE, lead regained by the internationals. This will be a decent way to work in against the T-side. Again, I'm worried about Endpoint CT basis here, especially with how early the starts have been here for the ENCE side to get the pistols together. Get the conversions and get everything else above that.
I look at the next round, though, and it does give me some level of confidence knowing that at least the eco going into the next is going to be quite impactful with the weaponry upgrades that they have, that it's not just a USP round, that it's not just a couple of P250s here or there. But you can even see in that last one, just the way in which Dotto, just gathering the sound cues outside of mid and just getting 1 pick at short just drew so much attention away from the A side that the long players go, oh, yeah, A side's open.
Endpoint struggling here in the early part of the game. Again, looking towards those rifle rounds where they can really contest for now. Back up on those upgrades that they saved in from the previous. The scout in a Crucial and Mezzy. Already tags up on Crucial's part, though. Wallbang is being hit by Hades again.
I just try to see if they can follow up a little bit more. Oh, there it is. That's the headshot we want to see.
Oh boy, I don't like where this is going. I really don't like where this is going now for ENCE. Picks apart on the kills. Spinks will follow suit onto Surreal. Nice nade back onto D. Actually evaded mostly. Snappy takes the majority of that damage. Thomas still waits here with the MAC-10 up close.
Easy pick for Dia. Just work on the edge of the smoke, see the player up onto the site. This should be a relatively easy kill too onto Mighty Max. So low HP, and the MAC-10 just gets the job done. Messi just trying to see if he can hold on to the scout, trying to get a couple of extra kills here or there. ENCE dealing with the eco very, very efficiently.
Yeah, plenty of money going to the MAC-10s as well. He's going to get past another one so we can try go hunting for even more picks. Get the likes of Messi to fall back and then just $600 bonus frag. Seen there on the T side line. Hades is going to jump face towards him. Nades up. MAC-10 rounds the corner. Jump faces. Headshot perfect on the spray. Ted to A. Eds now have the rifles against an Endpoint. Playing up against the bonus.
And that's right. Take it up as a bit of a bonus round. They can upgrade some of the weapons if they really want an AWP out for Hades in the opening rifle, but there's still a very, very good chance that the MAC-10 could continue doing some damage. Endpoint need to just fight back, need to be able to end this streak. It's already been a couple of rounds in a row. They've turned it into 3. Snappy is only on a P250 actually in round 19.
I have no idea why. Didn't he have like a MAC-10 or something prior to that? I'm not sure if he tried to... Okay, no, he does have one.
Gone back for it.
He dropped it in spawn. Yeah. Well, it's going to be a bonus round anyway here for ENCE, so even if he had the P250, he's going to buy up into the rifle into the next round. They can get the SMG frags, then that'll be ideal here to try and rip apart Endpoint. Gets plenty of money on the board. 2 players without head. Kevlar, though. Crossfire locked. No one's checked Mighty Max here. He finds Spinks and does get overwhelmed for it. Meza gets a kill back on 2. Dotto can burn him alive, though, to a 3v2. Favor to the Endpoint side here.
That's a real card face. Wait for all of the teammates to get in time, but without the kit, this is going to be a difficult retake.
Yes, I think they've been lacking a lot here on this CT Forces. Endpoint for a retake without the extra 5 seconds to work with. Surreal starts leaning up with the M4. Crucial and Thomas start making their way in. AWP set, snappy spray. Surreal gets the kill back involved. Hades at a 1 versus 3. Gets that one headshot. That's as far as it goes. Endpoint will find the retake and find the CT round.
And they took that quite calmly. Make sure that you're not just overextending, you're not getting Surreal just flying out from window. Slow the round down, move in together as a unit, make Hades really feel uncomfortable. How late that peek came in from window made him sort of look up and down over for the verticality. But for a bonus round, ENCE could be relatively happy with that. You get a bomb plant and you get 3 kills. It is a round up for Endpoint though.
Remember, ENCE back on the main weapons, the AKs, the AWP. There is an AK to spare for Thomas, but you can see the FAMAS on Mezzi is going to leave it a little bit limited for the Endpoint side. Get Hades straight in for control. Going to try and fight onto the likes of Mezzi. And Thomas AWPing a crucial late peak shoulder bait. Didn't bait in the shot, so they won't know he's here just right now. Snappy starts taking forward face here with the AKs out. Fires back, but doesn't get anything for it. Just gives away info to the CT side.
Yeah, long just being contested with ease, really, for Endpoint. Not a lot of aggression coming out from ENCE, just trying to post the AWP up. I can now start rotating Crucial a little bit off angle, maybe even move Mezzi away too, and just leave that one player at Thomas to defend. ENCE now starting to regroup up towards a short position.
Crucial's AWP. Watching for contact, watching for someone to peek up from short. No one's going to give him that onus here. ENCE are going to go back towards mid to B. Smoke down. The CT cross, I imagine the one on the boost spot will also come through in a second. It's Max and Surreal with the defensive. Surreal with the M4 takes space against Snappy, drops that bomb, takes a lot of damage for it, and he and Mighty Max will fall so quickly to the hands of Dia. 2 for 1 on the trade, bomb gets picked up and planted.
Oh, what a crispy couple of entries to come in for Dia. And that's always what you want when you're splitting B. You really want to be able to just open the site up incredibly quickly, because otherwise you give room and you give time for the anchors to just get comfortable and get in good positions. They just fly through. A couple of very, very quick kills for Dia, and the rest of Endpoint just save instantly.
No choice in the matter. They're all out towards long. And really, like, what can you do? So slow to the rotations. ENCE had the mid to be players, so they had the mid control. There's potential of hiding back over a truck or the mid doors and cutting off rotations. And you have to fight for that part of the map as well as getting into the B side retake. It's just not worth it. Just keep those weapons. Because the buy is even going to be looking rough here for the Endpoint side. Max and Surreal can probably go for a false invest, but you will see limitations here across these players.
Surreal can buy himself, like M4 and armor. Crucial could drop a FAMAS. What do they want to go for? They don't want to risk it here. I don't know how I feel about this. You're down by 2. Looking to try and keep it competitive from the start. This just feels too safe for me.
It does mean a buy can come through for Endpoint in the next round, so there's always that. Dotto taking face against Mighty Max, still going to kill him off regardless, no matter what rifle he had in that one. Crucial does find Hades at least getting a little bit of revenge finally back against that sniper. He has been held to him in mid-control, and now he starts to aggress very far forward with this orb.
Oh, those footsteps heard. Spinks knows exactly. He can recall the information over to his teammates. They've pushed up aggressively top mid.
And Crucial starts falling back here. They'll grab that weapon. Secondary AWP in play. Crucial able to escape. Surreal, maybe not so lucky. Spinks, straight headshot on him, or back shot from Crucial, connected to 22 points of health against him. ENCE returning to the same weapons that were saved here on Endpoint, except there's just damage being done to that AWPer. And Thomas has got a lot of pressure to find here. Sees Dia, sees Snappy as well. Seeing that bomb at the very least, calling out that information, but getting tagged up again of his own right. ENCE on getting these kills, but they're getting closer and closer.
He's not giving up. He has not given up without a fight. Thomas is so desperate for a pick back. Do they expect him to be there? They do straight away. The AWP does get a pick, but A is completely open. This kind of has to be a save. I don't think they could go for this.
Yeah, just got to fall out. Maybe catch one of the dead T-side players, grab that AK that Messi can upgrade to. The AWP of Crucial, definitely got to stay back and try and fall as far away as you can. I don't know where Messi's going to go with this, but not around for Endpoint. 12-9 for ENCE. And the Brits are not struggling as hard as they were on Vertigo, but they are still struggling here.
Follow up with an AK. That's at least something being regained for Messi. So in hindsight, this is actually a decent eco. You came in with 3 weapons, you come out with 2, you keep the AWP, and you even upgrade an AK. Sometimes, though, I like, playing the gambit. Try and risk it up a little bit. It is playing on the line as such, but at the same point, it kind of puts you back in the game. And for Endpoint, they're down by 3. They haven't managed a lot of success in this second half so far.
Yeah, this has been a single round for Endpoint on CT. It's starting to look a lot like Copenhagen Flames on Ancient from earlier today. The second half seen very little for the CT forces. Dotto out of the gate into the long control outside the long house. The AWP firing away. Nade to his position will do damage. Follow up nade doesn't even get the kill on him. He stays alive at 3 points of health, but he's land for the slaughter here. No support from him. The rest of the T-side stacked in the tunnels.
Messi's got to be on, though. He's going to be the guy out for the backup plan. How much damage can he find? Only get that one-on-one trade. Mighty Max is coming through quickly, but this is a great chance for ENCE to just get the bomb down, force the CTs in for a retake.
Yeah, smoke the doors, cross the bomb. Man advantage for Endpoint. Can they get the retake together, though? ENCE fended this off before. 2 CTs coming in from tunnels, 2 CTs coming in from window. Snappy prepared for the doors entry just in case. One player back a car watching window position, and the player at plat is going to be Hades. That orb's so ready to take face. Who's going to fire first? Flashes in, smokes down. Mighty Max caught by Snappy, still not killed off. Time starting to tick by. Pretty far away here for Endpoint. Hades caught by Surreal and Crucial, coming up with the kills and should be on the bomb. Where is it? Someone's got to get to the defuse. I think Thomas has just got it in time. And indeed, it will be a 10 for Endpoint.
Oh, that was really panicking there towards the end. The kills just coming through, just being able to spot that bomb. And for Endpoint, being able to slow the clock down and not get that retake in straight away is actually what's leaned for the success. Those nade placements were excellent. The amount of incendiaries that went down into the side meant that for ENCE, they just kept repositioning.
ENCE was playing so wonderfully against that one, but just not to be with the man advantage. And Endpoint, their second of this CT half. Can they make it a third to follow up? Still got plenty of money for ENCE, so they can rebuy for another good round, and they're going to put the AWP to effect in this one. Straight on Crucial, leaning up towards that cross position, a smoke back towards that corner, going to force them into the short control instead. And no one's watching it. Surreal's going to hear these footsteps. He's alongside Mighty Max for the defensive. Headshots to find. Snappy finds Mighty Max. And now Surreal stands alone. Back up on the way in from Thomas from that long control. Sees the one man. Sprays down Snappy, but Surreal falls in turn. And I think they're falling back to save again. Endpoint just can't catch a break.
They were so out of position, so incredibly out of position, and so is Thomas. Spinks might even be able to get the exit kill. This is just going to be the cherry on top. Easy as that. Messi's now going to just save a B, hope that he can hold on to the M4, but you can see that pick coming through for the AWP of Hades out from mid, and it just starts scrambling the CTs, doesn't it? You get two players of the A anchors itself moving down in CT, and eventually Thomas is like, guys, I need help, and it's just not there.
Molotoving him out. No, they're Molotoving the doors.
Oh, they'll check
still
it.
facing Medea. Doesn't win the fight, but Mezzi's got plenty more T-side presence to find here. Just about escapes the eye of Hades, so I think he'll just maintain his life. But still, 13-10. No matter what Endpoint save, they're still going to keep conceding round after round to ENCE. They need to get something on the board to stop this momentum, stop the T side from going past the finish line. 3 rounds to get there, 3 rounds to equalize. So rebuy for Endpoint.
They just need an opening man advantage. They've got to take pressure away because it seems in terms of the reads, they're getting out-read on this second half. Easily as that. They're getting moved around too much. They are actually stacking up B when the T's are all in the upper tunnels.
Spinks trades back on Thomas here. Line up for Mighty Max. He doesn't pull the trigger. Incendiary down instead. Crucial with the AWP. Finds a frag on Dotto out towards the mid control. They drop in on Mighty Max. Mezzi there with a trade with 2 kills. Can he make it a triple on Snappy? He'll burst through. He's dropped the bomb, but Crucial comes back in from lower. Finds the AWP pick and finds the 11th round. An all-important one again for Endpoint.
They got baited into that one so hard because there's 3 on B and they get the early entry. They think, all right, let's just fly it in. Let's just commit towards a B-side Exy. And there are so many players out on that B-side. Mezzi from the back of Plat just being able to work left and right, continue following up damage, and Crucial coming quickly out on that backstab out from the lower tunnels. ENCE, that was a bit of a wake-up call.
The T-side forces back up on their own reinvestment round. Molotov's in a Thomas. He's sandwiched between 2 incendiaries. He's going to push forward. Dia thinks it's clear. He thought wrong. Big kill for Endpoint. Taking out their one lurker of the T-side forces, I should say. Try playing up towards the short control now. I think Endpoint have the information. They definitely could have heard those footsteps.
Yeah, that would have been relayed over for Surreal for sure. It all just comes down to how can they position themselves out on the site. Crucial, you've got to imagine that he's going to get mollied or at least forced back to a passive angle.
Smoke's on the short control. Snappy starts walking up here alongside Dotto. Shots in for Crucial. AWP as a Molotov. Force him away. Nades back on Dotto and Spinks doing their damage. Still leaning up for the big green gun. And then the Asimov skin, can't quite seem to see any more T-side presence. The Molotovs and flashes go over. They fall back. Surreal leaves Crucial to die. He waits back at the box though. Snappy might not have any idea that this man is here. Bomb plant can be secured. They can't deny it. They have to go for retake. With this close range from Surreal though, they could get caught off. And indeed, Snappy is sprayed back. Hades catches an AWP pick. Dotto bails him out. It's all on Mezzi and Thomas. And as Mezzi falls, Thomas stands alone. A 1v3 clutch again with the kit. No util. And no map control to speak of.
He's got to save. There's no way that you can try and go in for this clutch. Money is the defining factor, and Hades might just peek into the angle. Does he see his head? Gets the tag up. Thomas gets away with 1, but no more than that. They're even hunting.
They take this weapon out of play. That's going to be nothing for Endpoint to work from, and Spinks knows it. Faces, gets the kill. Perfectly done. And now Endpoint have a choice to make. Force now, play for OC. What's the call?
Don't do it. That's the call. Don't you dare. There is no chance you're going to win a force buy in money situation like this. Half buy, get the eco forward, but no point forcing. Play for OT.
There will be upgraded pistols. You're right about the half buy. CZ, P250, Deagle. Crucial's going to take the hand cannon straight out to look for the first frag against Spinks. Counter smokes involved. Snappy towards the edge of that smoke alongside Spinks. 4 players stacked up. Flashing for Mighty Man's going to allow full send in. They got to go now. Catching off Surreal here. They go around the corner. Spinks catches Crucial still. Thomas with 1 good frag. Hades and Snappy maintain control of it. Good effort, good idea, but not to be for Endpoint. The lack of firepower hurt them there. But now, map and match point and playoff point as well for ENCE. 1 more round. They go to the round of 12. There's 1 final buy for Endpoint. 4 rounds to make it to OT.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a very, very tough one for the UK squad to just be able to force a bit of a comeback in. ENCE really just riding on momentum in this T-side half. They have not been able to skip a beat at all. Crucial just getting smoked out. He's just getting rushed.
It's going to fall back here. Flashbang's over. Just barely sees Dotto. Can't line up the kill. Thomas can get the trade at least, but the AWP for the CT side has dropped. And ENCE smoke to the cross here. Snappy and Co going to press forward. Hades going to cut off rotations. He may well catch Surreal. He's rotating back from shore, drawing his attention back away. And Mighty Max here doesn't reposition, gets shut down. 4 versus 3. The bomb to make his way towards the site here. Once it goes down, it'll be a full-on retake. Maybe Thomas can find a flank.
There's just no util. All they've got is a single flashbang, and Thomas just gets deleted straight away. Mezzi coming up from CT.
Flashed out of the cross. Spinks is an own entity. On top against him, Mezzi wins that fight. Got to turn back towards the site and towards Pit. Gets a second kill. But now it's all set up for Surreal, and the AWP Hades lets him walk no further. 16 to 11. ENCE have +2. They have the series, and they have the spot in the playoffs.
What an incredible run coming through from ENCE, AGF, Sangle, and now Endpoint. They have looked solid over the course of this main Swiss, Jay, and they deserve to be in the playoffs.
Absolutely they do. Endpoint had their moments of lacking, but let's be honest here, ENCE were looking at the better team coming into this. A lot of the better team going out of this. 3 over them in the main Swiss. Well, I did say it would go to 3 maps to egg, and indeed it did go that far. But at the end of the day, I feel like Endpoint probably could have conceded this in a bit of an earlier position, honestly. Like some of the situations they looked like in map 2 and 3, and some of the confidence they had over the course of those 2 maps really weren't looking amazing. I mean, you consider they had to win overpass on a comeback as well. There are some concerns for me for the British side today.
Yeah, there are. It wasn't probably the best Endpoint. At the same time, though, when you've got ENCE playing to that kind of a caliber, it always feels like your mistakes look like they're a lot bigger than what they actually are because they punish so much harder. And for Endpoint, this was going to be a challenge. We knew that both teams going into this were on a decent winning streak. And for ENCE, now they've been able to prove themselves of actually beating a top caliber side. You can really see that they've got something special here.
They really have, and I think that ENCE are a really good squad of their own right. We knew coming into this one they were going to be kind of like a favorite. We thought about the idea of the two, the formation and the form of the 2 teams coming into this matchup, knowing that it was going to sort of be like an oncoming force versus the immovable object, essentially. And at the end of the day, like I do feel like Endpoint kind of didn't live up to the hype in that respect because, well, they definitely looked mortal in that matchup. They really did, and it concerns me in that respect because we saw what happened to them over the course of the second and third map-ups, and it does give me some concerns going forward with the way that they held themselves because there was a serious lack of confidence for them. And we know that we've been trying to practice as of late, having a bit more downtime. We know that they've been trying to improve themselves, but you know, how long is it going to take for this new Endpoint to really settle in and really become like a definitive squad again?
It's difficult. It's very difficult, especially when you've got 2 new players, whether they've been in the UK scene in the past, whether Thomas has played for them in the past. Being able to have 2 new players into a side, it is going to take some time. And you've got to remember as well, in terms of the confidence of the team, this was a team that in Premier a couple of seasons ago qualified for ESL Pro League where they got to play the Tier 1 teams, and then this season they don't even make playoffs. So in terms of maybe some of their results, that also has a big impact on team performances, knowing that a few months ago, you're up here and now you're down here. Might not be a big difference, but it is lower.
Indeed it is, and with everybody else trying to make their way up to here as well, and everyone constantly on the improvement, like ENCE have been, for example. I looked at this and I feel like Endpoint have definitely fallen behind the curve. They're not quite eliminated just yet, but in terms of ENCE, that's a huge victory for them, I feel like. I think they've had a really, really good series to play for, and they'll be joining Nordavind in the 3-0s, so they'll be moving on to the playoffs. I never thought I'd say Nordavind would be in the 3-0 group here.
Maybe just get an international team and join Eliza, and there you go. Easy playoffs. Very surprising to see both of the international teams do really, really well.
Indeed. Well, listen, you saw the updated main Swiss system up on your screens a moment ago. So we kind of have a few sort of main staple names right now going into next week's action, Dwight, because it feels like I think the right teams are in the right places for the most part in terms of the promotion teams and the elimination teams. We've got some of the lesser squads. I do feel like Double Pony have underperformed a little bit over the course of their runs. But that might be the main sort of sticking point. Maybe Harvu as well, but Harvu have some mitigating circumstances. But outside of those two names, I think we've got the right teams in the right places.
Yeah, and that's always what you're hoping for. The last thing you ever want is sort of a team that is a big upset one to go sort of 2-0 or 3-0. You like to sort of get everyone in the right position, so then at least you get the best teams moving forward into the round of 12s, who then face off against teams like Furia, like Big. And you don't really want someone that's a less caliber team. You want the best levels of competition, and hopefully we'll be able to get to see those teams moving forward over the next couple of rounds.
Indeed, I'm looking forward to see who the next invitee is going to be, Dwight. We've got no information to that as of right now, at least myself and Dwight have. But do you have any guesses as to who it might be next?
No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
Out of the entire like gambit of teams that could be playing in the Eliza Invitational, I think that's a very difficult thing for me to ask you.
You know what?
There's definitely a lot of squads. Go on.
I do think if you've got Nordavind here and you've got ENCE in there, there's a couple of international teams. Give us another one. Give us another international team. I'll just say that much.
Face? No, not gonna happen. I don't know. Maybe, you never know. I don't know. Well, we'll find out. I'm sure the announcement's coming very, very soon. But for now, we have to bid you all adieu for this week for the Eliza Invitational. We will return on Thursday at the same time, at the same place for round 4 of our Swiss action. It will be all elimination and promotion games from here on out. So make sure you do not miss it here at twitch.tv/Eliza Esports. And we'll be making sure you tune into all of the social medias as well. We'll be keeping the announcements coming for the next invitees and the next stage of the tournament. Until that point, though, we bid you all adieu. Once again, on behalf of myself, the Eternal J, my co-commentator Dwayne, and all the production staff and admins behind the scenes here at Eliza Esports, thank you all so much for watching and for listening. And we'll see you back here next week for round 4 of our main Swiss stage.
From the outside, who would know what lies beneath? Unleash it with a machine as savage as you are. Lenovo Legion. Stylish outside, savage inside.
This